Welcome to today's stream of Sandbox. Now, before we go into Sandbox and VOD viewers again, you won't hear the music, but I want to point out here, okay? Again, the playlist is a bunch of tracks by an artist on YouTube. Well, just an artist in general called Windows 96. Please go check them out. 3 days until the game jam ends. So we're kind of on a crunch here. If we don't finish by Monday, we're doomed. But either way, I still want to work on it even after Monday because there's a lot of things I want to add to it. And also, Sandbox is a very nice engine to work with. I'm actually really liking the paradigm that they have. It's like very, very good. But before we start, I want to play a video that is going to be our daily. This is going to be our daily video until we finish Snowjob, because this video, I think, really. Why is there so much shit in my face? Get out of here! Get out of here! Well, the cat thing was like cool, but the rest of you, get out of here! Get out of here! But this video really, really embodies the feeling that we have. Because boy, oh boy, are we really going to have to get good at what we're doing in order to make it. Because otherwise, we're kind of doomed here. Where is the sauce? Why is it preset to come for me dot wave dot wav? Please enjoy the intro to today's stream. Wait, you can't see it. Wait.
The calice de neige de tabarnak. The calice de neige de tabarnak. Esti neige de bout en esti. The calice de neige.
This is really only going to make sense to like maybe like the two French Canadians who like watch me.
Je t'en ai pelleté la calice de neige. Toi, là, tu pelletes un peu sur ma tabarnak. Hey, ma esti calice. Esti tabarnak de gueule. Tu pelletes un peu, tabarnak, je t'assens, calice. Je t'ai curé, esti, la neige, tabarnak. Tu compris? Je t'ai curé. Attends, moi. Calice.
This is what it's like to work on Snowjob. This is the experience that I'm trying to like really emphasize here. This is what I want players to feel when they play Snowjob. Like, this is my goal. My goal in life is to get players who play Snowjob to feel like this, to do this, to embody this. If they don't start saying the Carlis, the Tabernacle, then there's really no point. This is what it means to get a snow job. I need to explain some things. One, yes, he was speaking Canadian. Specifically French Canadian. French Canadian swearing is a very, very long honored tradition, long honored art. There's even a whole song about this. And Tim Riker, I think a fairly, if not very well known Canadian comedian, had a very good bit about this. This idea of like swearing in like French is like a whole, almost like a tapestry that it's a tapestry of profanity that you weave in order to assault somebody's senses. And it's such a good way of describing it. And if he didn't say that, then I'm a genius for saying that. Basically, what he said was the equivalent of like, this motherfucking piece of shit, fuck this, oh my fucking god. But also, the words that he used specifically was tabernacle, which is the word for like tabernacle, which is like it's like a piece of cloth in like a religious ceremony. Christ, which is just the word for Christ. And then hostie, which is, I actually don't remember what the English translation of this was, but it's also another like implement of like the Catholic Church. Basically, they're swearing like French. Well, our swearing takes over. Our swearing is very characteristically different from like French, like France, like France French swearing. The language sort of evolved to have its own system because of French Canada's long history of being like A bunch of exiles, and then B, a bunch of like, you know, religious control. It's a very fascinating way of like, handling swearing. And that's what I want players to feel like when they play Snowjob. When you play Snowjob, I want you to feel like that. I want you to embody that. And that is our design motif for today. Now, as I mentioned, the playlist for the entire day is going to be all by an artist named Windows 96. As best as I could, I tried to arrange the playlist to go from, kind of upbeat during the just the chatting the hangouts into now where it's very, very slow, very, very boring. Not like boring, but like very, very peaceful, tranquil, but still very complex in many different ways. Is why I really enjoyed this artist. Today we are working on my game Snowjob within the engine sandbox, and I'll get into that because it's been a while since we have done this, so I might as well explain it a tiny bit. Bro just whipped out a hammer to finish the shovel. There's a hierarchy to tools, right? The shovel sits at the lowest because the shovel digs the hole for its own grave. At the very top is the hammer, for the hammer made the Mona Lisa or something. Today, well, I had some more topics. Well, I'll save those topics for tomorrow. But yeah, we're gonna be doing some Snowjob, and I know you may have seen the can cause cancer thing. It's a tidbit that I wanted to share with you all about nail biting. But I'm too lazy to go into it because I'm already like over the like topic. I don't find it interesting anyway. So if I still find it interesting, I'll get into it. The gist of it is that if you bite your nails like I do, you give yourself ulcers and you might give yourself cancer. And I had no clue, which is crazy. I only found out from another clip of another streamer finding this out from another like clip. It's crazy. Today we're gonna be working on Snowjob for about. I wrote 5 hours because I thought just chatting would only take 1 hour, and I had it that I started right at 6, right as soon as I finished work. So maybe like 4 hours or 5 hours. I'm gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna pass out. I did the intro with the French person screaming. Today we're gonna be focusing on getting the gameplay elements of the game fully implemented. Again, it's a very simple game. From a gameplay perspective, there's not that many difficult mechanics, but because we only have 3 days, we don't have much time to tweak and make it feel good. For the most part, we only have enough time to actually make it functional. So this is really about focusing on the MVP of throwing the snowball, rolling the snowball, pushing things, aka running trains on other plowable things, attaching snowballs to other snowballs / the floor. If it's the first in the chain, not to build logic for that, but the logic is as simple as like if index equal 1 if you're in lure, 0 if you're wrong. And then items that like do things. So like the Jocelyn Monroe, which I think is gonna be good. As well as implementing crouch and fixing rotation and UI for the game. So quite a lot on the list, but I think it's doable because while I wasn't streaming, I actually did some things. And I was going to record me programming, but I got very, very lazy because it was like an hour every day. But while I wasn't streaming, I was actually programming a bit, and I fixed... okay, well, this is the wrong scene. I fixed gravity. Today, I'm going to fix gravity all worldwide. No, I fixed gravity. So why is it so zoomed? Eh? Oh. Well, I guess that makes sense. But so why is it still so zoomed? Oh, that's the game. Oh, that's the game. So now there's gravity. So now you can move while you're in midair and actually suffer from gravity, which some may say that's a bad thing, but I think it's better to be able to live like a human being than not. You may notice that there's a problem here with the rotation. I'm pressing W right now to move forward, but I'm moving backwards. So the rotation fix, it refers to this, where the main camera and the body gets detached because of the way that we've done like a turret style in order to roll snowballs, and I'll get into that. But we have the jump pattern. Everything is driven by the actual gravity of the source engine too under the hood. So I finally found out how to actually get access to your physics model, which was from the rigid body. So we're still using the character controller. I just opted to calculate the gravity myself as part of my movement vector acceleration by just seeing what my current gravity was, like my current gravity value, which isn't really accurate, but I just looked at the linear velocity of our character as they were falling. And then I just include that into the movement vector, because the movement vector should only be forward, should only be within the X and the Y axis and never in the Z, because I normalize it. So It mostly works. The only thing that won't work with it is that if you go like um if you go like up a bit, like it feels kind of floaty at the very top, like here, like you can kind of see it. It feels kind of floaty here. Other than that, though, it's pretty good. I also realized that we actually need more space for the game because like I don't really care about my console. It's fine. Transition into just sleeping stream. Okay, well, but like I hate sleeping streams. I actually think that they're the lowest form of content. Not to say that like oh I am of the elites as if my content is like any better, right? But like if you're here to spend your time here, I want you to come out of this feeling disgusted. No, I want you to come out of this feeling like okay, like you got something from it. I don't want you to come in here and then feel like okay, well, I just watched a dude sleep. Maybe you're into that. I'll run a poll okay, I'll run a poll in the Discord. I'll run a poll in the Discord. Is it safe to show? Because as far as I know, all of you are being good here. How many of you would like to see me sleep on stream? Me, I would. I would love to see you sleep. I live for you. Okay. No, please give me more of that riveting content. You all sad. We'll do this for like a week, for 3 days. Okay. All right. Answer now, and then in 3 days we'll figure out because I'll probably fall asleep on the day that we upload. So yeah, let's see how this goes. But yeah. So that's what I was working on, but off stream was fixing that. I didn't get much else besides learning more about the engine, so I know more about how the engine is and how it works. So making sure all my links are good here. I didn't even show you my spam bot stuff. God damn it. I didn't even show you all the Twitter spam bots that were sliding up in my DMs. Whoever trained those spam bots, like the training model that they have, it's getting good. Also, I posted this on like Twitter, but honestly, going through these docs, like they're actually good if you understand the like structure, right? But then you get this. Like I posted this on like Twitter, and I was like, whoever at Face Punch like pitched that these documents should have comments, like they live for this chaos. Public class, my class, we are gaming for static class game. Game.close. But yeah, so we know enough about the engine now. At least I do to know exactly what we can create easily for the game jam, and what will come in as a part of V2 for Christmas. So this again, this game was designed around the whole Christmas holiday coming up because I like that game about carving pumpkins. That was made by Adam Guy. What's your name? Adam something. Adam something. He made the pumpkin carve in Halloween Ghost Festival Town game. I love that game. So I was like, why don't we do the same thing for Christmas? So I jacked his idea. I'm gonna comment. I'm gonna give him credit for being inspiration. Okay. But there's more to do beyond the game jam, and I know what's possible even for that, and it's actually all doable. We just have to get through all of this first. Okay. Now, why am I here again? I think I just wanted to show you these comments. Like, look at this. Like, what is this? This was 15 days ago. This is when the game jam started. Like somewhere, so this dude just when the game jam, we're getting into it again. We're doing it again. What? Man spy, man of piss and shit. Time, XDD. Now, Gary. Uh, man, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. What? So they know, they know, they know what's going on. Something to be aware of is that this can change depending on where you're calling it. For the most part, of time the currency and what? Oh yeah, there's actually a bug with the time right now. It's currently on the on the GitHub issues. Something about the time, like it floats out of sync very very slowly. So a very long session, we actually can't rely on time too much. You have to manually resync it, which is annoying. Not that it really matters for me, because like our game is dog like shit, so who really cares? But yeah, let's just get right into it. I don't want to waste time. Again, on today's schedule, who this is clearly a parasocialism exam. This is clearly a parasocialism exam, a mere test. There is no winning option. Answer, and all will be forgiven. That's what you're missing out when you don't join the Discord channel, where we talk about all kinds of things, and chat makes fun of me and my drawings. If you do join, please post your cow, because we have many cow pictures. I know what this looks like. I drew this. This is a cow. He's just taking a selfie. He's just taking a selfie from down under. All right. But if you do join, please do join and post your pictures of cow by typing Discord !Discord in the channel. There's an update that you can't. Well, you can kind of see it through my shirt. Don't look over there. Don't you dare look at my cleavage. You're all updated. Wait, do I have to update it? Does it matter? What's new? Undo now works like in Vim. What do you mean that works like? It didn't work like it didn't work like that before. So what did it work like last time? Today's docket for things that we need to do. See, I'm getting distracted again. This is what happened last time. Snowball throw, snowball roll. Movement is done. We need to fix the rotation. I think we fixed the rotation ASAP, because it's annoying enough that we had to solve it immediately, because I don't know what the fuck is going on, okay? I left some comments on why I did certain things, so you can see my solution here with the gravity. Again, it's the same thing that we had before. We just get the rigid body physics body, which is like, the way that this engine works is that because the scene system is a layer on top of the actual native source engine system, it just, during its initialization steps, it just puts everything into, the purview of the source engine, and keeps like a copy of it, or like a reference to it, that it then updates on like this side. The physics body is one of those things where anything involving physics it needs to have this, and this is then being kept track of on the source engine side in its own way, with its own thing. And then all the values just get copied over. So we use that, pull in, a current velocity, and I said like, it doesn't really work if there's, because like your gravity could be it could technically be anything. There's actually nothing stopping you from saying gravity to like anything, because you can just change the axes around, I think. Actually, I don't know, because source 1 gravity was always within the z-axis, and I don't think you could ever do it as like any other axis without great difficulty, so who really knows? But yeah, just that's how I did it. We need to fix the rotation, because sometimes the way that it works right now is very annoying. Right now, and the reason why it's like this, and I'll explain why. The player's body is not the same as the camera, right? The camera is just the eyes. These two actually can move independently, because when you're rolling a snowball, we don't want you to have to look around to move the snowball. Because a snowball could be huge. Like, it could be like most of your screen space over here. In which case, if you had to always stare at your snowball, A, it would be very boring. B, you wouldn't be able to like do anything, right? I imagine it like I was Sisyphus in like real life, right? Like Sisyphus, people always say he had such a hard job having to roll the ball up. Always, right? But I think that'd be the best job ever. Roll and just look around. Just look left and right. Say hello to your neighbor. Be like, hey, Poseidon, what's up? As he's getting wet with all of his fish homies, right? Like the deep. I think that's a wonderful feature. Problem is, right now, if the body for some reason churns, that rotation is not propagated back to the camera. Because it's a one-way rotation of sorts. It doesn't even like really propagate necessarily. Like the camera is technically separate from everything. So even when I lock it, it doesn't really work well, and I'll get into it. But we need to fix all of that. I've also updated the player, as you can tell. We no longer use like a model collider, because I was like, it's way too expensive, doesn't really make sense. So I went back old school, and I'm doing the collider kind of like you would do old school hitboxes, kind of like CS hitboxes, where you'd go very, very cubic, and you would just make a bunch of cubes all around you to denote what you can hit. I don't know what the other cube is. There's like a logic cube that's in this, and I don't know why. I think I think he's in like a tesseract, but I can't tell what the fuck it is. So I've been trying to figure that out. But the main cube that is actually the hitbox is the stone slab. It's like that one scene in like Hannibal when you get like stuck in like a case in like a stone slab. Why did I think of Hannibal? I don't know. Would love to have this cow's flexibility to suck myself. Okay, please don't. There's nothing weird going on in the channel. There's nothing weird going on in the channel. Just a normal. Will we be watching you sleep through a reflection on a sword? Says my Discord chat member. Only if you want that. I can make it happen for you all. Anyways, well, there's a lot of things to fix, okay? But I'm gonna go with this idea of like a much simpler hitbox because it makes it easier to work with. The physics engine, I don't know how to tune it yet, but if you make like a character, you use a model physics, model collider. I'm not even kidding you. I was actually like looking into it. Basically, because his foot, do you see how his like toes? Do you see how his toes are like weird, right? The tip of his toes fucks everything up. I don't know how to keep him upright, and I didn't want to bother programming something to keep him upright yet. So I was just like, okay, box collider, and then I realized it's the best choice anyways. We do have to program something to keep the character upright at all times because right now you can roll, and it's very disorienting when it does happen. I've gotten a headache from it, which is actually very interesting because I've never gotten a headache from that stuff before. So let's see if we can fix these things. Okay, so first off, fix the rotation. So you see it immediately as I land. Actually, see that? See, because when I land here, if I select my character, watch this value over here. You know what? I'll move my entire character over. God, you're so needy, chat. You want to see like stuff on the side. No one even said that, by the way. I'm just making up like scenarios in my mind. But look at this yaw value, okay? That yellow, that's like green value. I'm sorry about the size too. I actually looked into making the stream larger. So I tried to use my computer in 1080p mode. My eyes hurt. And I was like, okay, well, fuck you. I'm the one I'm the one doing the hard work. You can watch in whatever resolution I give you. See that? Well, I mean, it's kind of the camera. But basically, like well, actually, no, it's because it's currently hooked up. But basically, when it gets out of sync, it doesn't really sync up with the camera. And I have logic right now to try and sync it up, but I don't actually know what to do to sync it up. But I've been trying to figure out how to actually like sync up rotation for a while. But it was like an hour or half an hour every single day for like this entire week. So maybe like 4 days at like best. Or maybe 2 actually, because I was busy for most of it. Maybe it was only like 2 hours, but this isn't the way. Basically, what I want to do is I want to capture the rotation of my direction source, right? Which initially will be the camera, but then when you start rolling a snowball, it'll be the snowball, so it'll follow the rotation of the snowball and like where it's facing, right? But I wanted to follow that, but only on the yaw. Roll is when you do like a barrel roll. Pitch is when your whole body goes up and down. And initially, I had that. It was funny, but it was also very disorienting to see because I don't know why you'd want that. Problem is, I don't know how to do it. And actually thinking about it, why don't I just lock it? Wait, I just thought of something. Let me cook. Let me cook. Why don't we just do this? Instead of trying to calculate it from the yaw, we just do direction source dot local transform dot local rotation. So if you do this, then you get everything. You get pitch, roll, and yaw. So now see if I look down, right? He impacts the floor. This thing had me laughing for a while because I was like, with the shadow, it looks stupid. So and then when you like go back, it's like those like it's like that idea of like it reminds me of a child who gets really angry they didn't get the iPad, so they swing their head back to try to like knock themselves out of something. Like it's just so stupid, and because the Terry character looks so funny, like it just reminds me. And then what happens is that when you do a rotation while you're on the floor, your camera controls get really fucking weird. Like everything, like right now, I'm currently backwards. Everything gets really fucking weird. And you can do this a couple times, and you end up in like a very weird space. However, I was thinking about this. You know, like a lot of games have this idea of like lean left, lean right to look over corners. In my head, what I realized was that you could have a game that like has that as the base control. So it would just be this. So you would always be like leaning and like stuff. So you would have to look straight, look down to go down a certain angle, and then look left to lean, right? Because if you just turn left, then you don't lean. But if you go down and then left, then you lean around the corner. And I was like, that would be so cool if it wasn't so disorienting. It's so disorienting to do. But it's on the back burner. It's somewhere in my head. So we do this, right? Now we only want the yaw. We only want the yaw value, which I'm pretty sure is just the whatchamacallit. Like, I'm pretty sure I can do this and then just get rid of the other values entirely. Problem is I don't know how to do that necessarily. Like, is there a way for me to just only get the yaw? Wait, actually, maybe I do like, what's the rotation static functions? What even is a rotation? I never actually looked at this here. I'm still not sure if I don't even know what the decompiler is anymore. I was actually trying to figure out what it was for legal purposes. Because I was like, why do you need a decompiler to look at the class of thing that you're using in some assembly? When it's like, wouldn't you want to know how it works to know how to use it? Because it's not like the interface is very clear unless you're like a mathematics wizard. Well, I guess that's a problem, right? I failed math. Life is so hard. Anyways, what's a quaternion? Khan Academy actually. I was using Khan Academy to learn what a vector is again because I haven't used it in like forever. But now I know what a dot product is. Well, I did until I stopped knowing it. Hey, have this Unity 3D. Tuple is a 4 tuple. Do we really not have a better term for this? Is it just a quadruple? Wait, what's a tuple? The best remote pair programming app on Mac OS and Windows. Wait, this one actually might be kind of cool. Okay, maybe at some point, maybe one day, I'll bring you guys in so we can pair it. No, would that be dangerous? Wait, what if I just wait? Okay, chat, new stream idea. New stream idea, okay? I get all of you to join me in programming something, and I let you all go on the typewriter in a VM. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's like that. You know, like thought theory. What's that theory? Like a mind think, like a mind thunk. That thought experiment of like, you put enough monkeys in a room to type on like a typewriter, they'll eventually write like, you know, Moby Dick or something, right? I think this would be amazing to do as just a one-off stream, and we just see how far all of us collectively get. But I don't know if I should wait to do it later when I'm Doug size or now while we still have the ability to moderate all of you. I don't know. Anyway, Sarah, Paul, and Mike, they're hard at work saying this is the wrong URL. It's a V2 people. This really is just the same as work. It's just the same as work. To 2 times and compare. Wait, what? To 2 times and compare. Exactly. Oh, you're right. We should wait until 2 times. We should do it 2 times and then compare the results. You're a genius. You're a genius. Yeah. Because then imagine, right? Imagine how funny that would be if we just got worse. Like, the more people we had, the worse we got it. I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to go. Because I can't imagine it. It's like too many cooks in the kitchen, right? You want a steak? You get one guy on the steak, all right? That guy's he's been working at a Brazilian steakhouse their whole life. He knows how to skewer it, knows how long it has to be in there, knows when to pull it out, knows which cuts to cut for the juiciest taste. You don't need anything else. You put 2 people on the steak, one guy flips it too early, one guy seasons way too soon, it's over. The steak is gone. Anyways, a tuple is actually the correct term. It's actually just a term for a finite sequence. So the 2 in tuple does not mean 2 like I thought it maybe would have. but I still think a quadruple is a great name. However, I recognize the complexity of having to remember like a like a quintuple. But at the same time, the quintuplets like that anime is fairly popular. So I think it would have been fine to name that. But I'm not a weeaboo, nor am I a computer science guy. I'm just a phony. Yeah, knowing when to pull out your meat is important. Very important. So important. I want to eat a meat house meat. What I need to figure out is what do the numbers mean? Like, what is X, Y, Z, W? I can kind of infer X, Y, Z in terms of like roll, pitch, yaw. But I think W is used for some scaling thing that I don't know. Don't modify this directly unless you know quaternions inside and out. Okay, this is funny too. Look at Uni's docs, by the way. And maybe we go to the latest one. Let's go to the latest docs. I know we're doing I know we're doing sandbox, but you know, just to see. W component of the quaternion. Do not directly modify quaternions. X component. Don't modify this directly unless you know them inside out. One says no, one says maybe. Anyways, I was hoping to use this to know more about quaternions, but I leave it with even less understanding. How the fuck do you make like use a quaternion? There's no point looking at this. I have the code. I just want a quaternion that preserves only the changes in the yaw, nothing else. I don't care about anything else but the yaw. Yeah, bitch, yeah. Initializes the rotation from a normal vector plus a rotation around it. A rotation around it. The normal vector. So which direction that we're looking at? The W component, aka rotation around the... Is that what it is? Oh, that makes total sense to me now. That's a quaternion? Oh, I was so afraid for so long. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's just... So the three XYZ components is your vector, aka your direction. And then the W is your rotation around that. So when you want to, you know, rotate in a different way, like if you want to look if you want to have your character rotate around a different axis, you just modify your XYZ to sort of look around, and the W is actually like what angle that you're currently at. Wow. Well, all these years, all these moments in time. I always feel that. Oh man, I could never capture his like voice. Okay, well that makes it easier, but I still don't know if there's like an easy function. Is there an easy function to like make it work? I guess. I guess I could do a from axis, right? Because then I just normalize the axis to the y axis, to the yaw axis. Then I take the current degree that it's currently rotated around by. And then just rotate that, and then just make it look at that, right? That seems doable. But then it's like, why not just use this? Wait, how come this didn't work actually? What? Why didn't that work? Like, wouldn't I just do like, I don't know, like this? Wouldn't I just do like, yeah, okay, so I go like this, and then go like rotation. I really don't know about the way that it makes me feel so alive. But the way that static functions don't use the why does so many languages complicate syntax? Like, I don't know that this is a static function that I'm calling. I guess for a language like C# it doesn't matter because you're doing it through like a runtime, which handles it for you. But it feels dirty calling it like a normal function when it's not. Same with properties. It just feels wrong. C# actually, the more I work with C#, the more it feels wrong but also right. It feels like the naughty mistress in on your computer that's been waiting for you this whole time, and it feels weird because the way that it works doesn't really fit any mental model that I've ever had from a programming language so far. Anyway, so what do I want to do? I want to do I'm pretty sure it's pitch thing yaw. The reason why I want to do this is because I'm pretty sure pitch yaw roll. I want to do it like this, and then get the yaw only of the thing that we're trying to match. I'm pretty sure I tried this, but I don't think it worked. And I think it's because of the values. I think it's because of the normal vector. There's something weird about the normal vector. Because they don't exactly match, right? Like the camera is technically separated, so. But what I want to have is this work so I only get the yaw of my direction choice. Because pitch and roll should never happen to this character. The other alternative, no joke, is that I just lock the pitch and the roll to 0, and every single frame I just update in like a pre-update to be 0. But I don't know how that interacts. Okay, so now if I look at this, the main camera is at minus 93, right? If I look up and down, I don't think it meaningfully changes the value because that's the roll, I think. But this guy is at 138. The player is at 138. Oh wait, they actually match perfectly. Oh, I fixed it. So why does it still feel so weird? Why does it still feel so weird when I churn? It's not a rotation problem. Well, it's not just a rotation problem. It's the way that I'm calculating the forward vector. It's the way that I'm calculating the vectors of my movement direction. So this works. And I'm gonna reuse this for 6 degrees of freedom for something in like a maybe like a. I don't know if I can make the 6 degrees of freedom. I want to get like a rocket jet in, or like a rocket pack in this game that could have you like explode into someone's like snow structure. I don't know if it's gonna make it for the game jam, but let's see. Again, we have 3 days to like do this, so I've been a very busy bee. But whatever vector that I'm using to move around in doesn't work, and I wonder why. What exactly is this rotation? What? Yeah, what is this rotation? What? Wait, what? Rotation from yaw. Direction source transform dot local rotation dot yaw. Yaw. Huh? Shouldn't it always work? Yeah. Shouldn't it always work then? Like now they both match. So two weird things. I would have assumed that me transforming this node that has the character model on it, the model renderer, would also rotate the model itself. But you can see that that's not the case. Like if I go down here and look at my model and I look at them very, very closely, right? If I spin around, you see the camera where it's facing? Like it's not even that the camera is at the back of the character, but the camera rotates faster. But if you look at the two values though, right? My character's slowly sliding too. Don't worry about that. I need to fix that. It's the unstuck thing. There's a bit of slidiness to it. But 106, that's 79, is the rotation on the player, like scene object itself. I don't know, like the game object. 106.79 is on the camera as well. One of them is lying. That, or the calculation for rotation, is dependent on something that I don't know about. Like, does your rotation of your camera not coincide with the rotation of your character? Like, what exactly is the thing that's making these two feel weird, right? Worst case, every single update, I just get the forward vector of the camera and like rotate the model to be like looking at it. It's gonna feel like those older games. Well, not older games, but it's gonna feel like those like games. Dishonored is maybe the best example of this, where your body. I'm pretty sure it was in Dishonored, or maybe it was in Dark Messiah. Where you can turn your character like you turn your head, like you turn your camera, and the body, and then the player character would like catch up like moments afterwards. But I'm hoping that that doesn't have to be the case because IMO. Well, IMO. I mean, IMO doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. But my assumption would be that these two are technically going to rotate by the same units. Like their unit of rotation is the same because 30 degrees for me is 30 degrees for you too. Right? I don't know. Maybe, unless your head is on like a swivel. I don't know. You know, I actually don't know if that's true. Is rotation a standard amount that is applicable to all things? Yes. What proof do I have of that? Nothing. Simply intuition. I'm just that smart. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. So that's one issue. The other issue is that because that happens, like look at this, okay? So all movement is based off of the forward vector of my direction source. The source of my direction on this thing is the camera. The camera is the thing that it's pulling the direction from in order to determine the forward vector. So why is it that when I press W, it goes like this? Because it's not. It's moving towards the character's forward vector. It's so weird when it's doing like this. Maybe it's because of local rotation. I guess the problem is that I'm trying to figure out what is, because local, it's there. Hmm. But maybe from yaw is doing it. Actually, now that I think about it, doesn't that just throw out like everything? I guess it kind of does, right? But that's also kind of what you want if you only care about movement within the yaw axis. Because even if you're looking up or down or you roll a bit, your yaw should still be the same value of like say 106. And then your forward direction is probably that way. Unless I'm misunderstanding forward. No, the forward direction of this rotation. So that makes sense. Yeah. So this updates the rotation of the player model. This updates the thing. That's what's working on my machine. And again, if the stream does end early, don't worry. We have like a 14-hour stream tomorrow, or maybe 16. Starting at let me do the math. Hmm. 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 1 p.m. UTC, 10 a.m. my time. Very, very early. What the hell don't you like? It's not the gravity stuff, I'm pretty sure. It's just this. Maybe it's my understanding of the vectors that's wrong. Like, what exactly is it doing when it gets rotation dot forward? Vector 3 dot forward times this? What? A vector with x set to 1. This represents the forward's direction. So if I only get the yaw of this rotation, such that it only has the y value, effectively. Wait, how does the multiplication work? It's overloaded somewhere here. Son of a gun. No, I want to see your operator. Operator. That's right, kids. Today you can play with operator. Can you save a life? Please help me. My mom's gonna die. Please. Oh, man. All right, kids. Try to operate. I don't know if I can do this, man. This is too much pressure. Oh, don't worry. You just gotta make sure that you pull out the right organ. Oh, my God. It's beeping. Well, it looks like she's dead. Okay, what? So system.numerics. System.numerics. Don't open that. .numerics. Vector 3. Is this just a baseline? What is system? I thought system was like a C# thing. Huh. No shit. Is system just available? Wait, does system just already have... Does C# have built-in vector 3? I guess it makes sense, right? Because like... What else is C# really used for? Like besides game development? I don't fucking know. I take that back. Well, I don't know actually. I don't know. Yeah, what else is it really used for? I don't know. I've seen more shops. I've seen more places using Scala. I've seen more places using Scala than C#, which is funny to me because I feel like C# is the infinitely simpler of the two to get to. But it makes sense why there's a vector 3 implementation in the standard library. Because if it's only game engines, then why not? Okay, so wait. Okay, so this one gets a rotation. Scala. So you transform the underlying quaternion. I think that underlying quaternion, which is also, it's only available with the The internal, yeah, so that's the internal quaternion. So it gets the quaternion, it then does a transfer in between the two, adds the various components. Does the is this a result of the riot? We demand content. Well, if you want content, be sure to vote in that poll so I can see. Chat, the poll is a 100% you want to see me sleep. What's wrong with you? It's a 100%. You do realize this, right? Chat, I'm a VTuber, okay? So like I could be like, okay, I'm going to sleep, and I could be playing Tales and Tactics, and you would have no clue. I could be playing Tales. I could literally be on the World of Warcraft expansion, and you would have no clue. And I would just be like, oh, I'm sleeping, until I accidentally yell at my raid member. I'm like, you motherfucker, right? Like you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Are people still toxic on WoW? By the way, Nagi. Oh, you got me to say your name. Sorry, chat member. Sorry, chat. Okay, chat. All of you who play WoW, because I actually all the ones who play WoW are here now. So at least that I know of in my channel. But any more who also play, are people in a game still toxic? And would you recommend that expansion if to somebody who like hasn't really cared? Raids aren't open in the new expansion yet, idiot. Okay, so that answers my question. Yes, people are even perhaps even more mean in World of Warcraft now. You know what? When I played Final Fantasy 14, right? The worst we saw was a little glizzy on the park bench. That was it. That was the worst that we saw. I asked a question over here, and I get like pitchforks and like torches. Like I'm shrekking the swamp. I'm checking the swamp, and I haven't even found my. Well, I have my Fiona, but you have a little glizzy. Oh man, you know, have I ever showed you guys the glizzy gladiator? Just to show you really quick, just a really quick show. It's a very very old clip. I swear to God, we'll actually program soon. Yes. Okay. Well, too late. I want to show you again. Chat, there's a new Glizzy Gladiator clip. Never mind, I don't want to see it. Oh my god, chat, I think it's gone. Oh, it's still here. Thank God. Well, it's too late for you. I want to show you again because I always find this video funny and I love the way that this there's something about the way that he does it that makes me feel so strange. I love that so much. Anyways, bye. No way, chat. But you didn't even answer my question. You didn't even answer my question. How dare you? Get out of here. I love that clip. There's a couple of other like glizzy clips that I have to remember to pull down. But just remind me to go watch the Glizzy Gladiator, and I'll get those clips for us to watch. There's something so funny about them being as like you know how people have soundboards. I have like mental damage like video boards. Like I give you mental damage. Not that way. In a D&D way. So the way this works is it takes the rotational value of those things and multiplies it by the numbers in order to get the final number. Then it multiplies that by the number again. It takes the rotation x, 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 the y, y, and the z to then get the final number. I think this makes sense. I'm pretty sure that makes sense because I vaguely remember that that's one of the ways to shortcut the calculation. And then they just have to do a shit ton of type conversions, which I feel bad for them. So it seems to be fine, and it makes sense because if the vector is normalized to x, and then you multiply it by our y, it should actually point towards that direction. So I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't work. Maybe I need to do it in such a way that it's not just the yaw. Like maybe I need to do it in such a way that it's both the yaw and the roll or something. I don't know. Creative rotation from yaw degrees. Or maybe doing it like this loses too much information. Right? Pitch, yaw. No, it's the same thing as I would have to do there. Like that's. I don't know why this doesn't work then. It should always be going towards the camera. Is there anything that I have that's being all wonky? So let's see. The only thing that I have is that, as well as the look controller. Like this thing here, which handles the camera itself. What was it again? It's really hard to do this, actually. I'm so tired. Roll 0. Pitch was up and down to normalize it. Right. Otherwise, yeah. Lock yells. There's my thing. Pull a Chucky headspin or something. Yeah. Okay. I do have to do that, actually. It's like I need to have like a two-way. It's a two-way relationship. It's a movement polycule. Yeah. It's a rotational polycule where one side needs to follow the other side, but be limited by that side. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Remember the polycule. Remind me in like 30 minutes about the polycule, and then just type that word, and I'll figure it out. But this should just work then. I don't know why this doesn't work. Is it because I initialized it to 0? Is that stupid? No, because I vector with all components to 0, and then you just add it onto it. It doesn't do anything. You go forward and backward. And backward is a calculation of what? A polycule? Exactly. Just like that, but like only when I ask for it. Exactly. So X is backwards. Is it because of X? Is that why? No, that would make sense. I mean, it may make sense anyways, as long as you multiply it correctly, which you do. Yeah, you press forward and like back, which is W and S, then you would just stand still. They would both be 0. And when the pitch and the roll is 0, you multiply it down at 0. The only time it's not 0 is when you then do it for number 3, which would actually be for number 2, which is the Y component, and then that multiplied by the number 1 component wouldn't work, but that wouldn't matter because then you'd be constructing it from. Yeah, I mean the math checks out. I don't know what's wrong. It's not the math; it's the logic. You know what it is? I'm too stuck in my head, believing that math is a solution. Math ain't the solution. You know what's the solution? Logic. What's weird is that it still kind of works, right? Actually, I'm realizing now. I'm actually moving in the direction of the player, which means local rotation. My understanding of it is off, which is also weird because, like, technically, isn't the local rotation the rotation of the if the local rotation of the camera is not the rotation that I see it as, is it the rotation of the camera in the world coordinates? Which I don't know if that actually makes sense, but I'm assuming that's why. Here, you get some more volume on the music because I really should do automatic ducking. You know what it is? In about 20 minutes, no, in about 2 hours, just type in all caps duck. Okay? 50-50, I just jump under my table as a reflex. Or I remember to fix it such that I automatically duck the music for the sake of the programming segment in order to provide some more quality for when I'm thinking of things. But I think I know what's going on. So what's going on is this. It's just take the world rotation. Maybe my understanding of like world versus local when they're nested doesn't make any sense. I actually don't remember what the real difference is. Yeah, see, so now it kind of works, or like it like perfectly works. Well, kind of like the body still doesn't churn. That's not really good. But presumably, local wouldn't work. I mean, fuck it. Why even bother dealing? Why was I dealing with local in the first place? Right? Like, does it even matter? Like, it's not a local phenomenon. It's a global phenomenon. That's what's called global warming. Any references to a local? Shut them down. This is a global conglomerate coming in to make this all not local. What's the term? Gentrification. That's the term. Local. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, why was I doing everything in like local anyways? Oh fuck. What was this problem again? What was this problem again? Why is it so weird? Why am I sliding? What was this problem again? Because the way that I'm adding values. Yeah, it's because the way that I'm adding values and the way that it consistently applies the same value to it. Because your yaw, yeah, bitch, yeah. Because your yaw, you see that? The yaw, the camera ain't moving, but the body is. Because it's not local. It would be because it's the local transform stays the same, which makes sense. And I do want to pull the rotation from the local transform. Problem is, I have to convert it into into like a world transform, into a world rotational value. If I just use the world transform, because it's a child of the player, and it's affecting its parent to churn, what happens is that the value is always different. So it always gets updated by the same constant rate, depending on how far you've churned in the previous frame. Or like the previous input. And it just stays like that forever. My theory sounds good, but really what I've just said was the equivalent. I said a lot about nothing. It's a lot about nothing. Maybe I go back to local for this. So movement stays on world. So now I'm moving correctly. So now it works to move correctly. That's like simple. Okay, so now moving correctly works. Everything kind of feels okay. The jump, I need to modify. One thing I was thinking of is that maybe I modify the gravity scale for your player character as you get closer to the apex, in order to get you falling sooner. But I also don't know if that feels good from a gameplay perspective. Global warming is insignificant compared to local warming in my pants. You know what's sad to think about? It's that we're all adults, but we all laugh at the same things. Like it's so nonsensical and funny, but it's so nonsensical that it's funny. It's just oh man, global warming is insignificant compared to local warming in my pants. I could do like a fan cam edit, like like an AMV. I could, I could do like an AMV of like the latest G20 summit as they're talking about global warming. And then I like do like a machinima dub where it's like me as someone from the Paris Accord going like, "We've got to stop global warming. It's taking over." And then I like dub someone else like on the stand going, "Global warming is insignificant compared to local warming in my pants." Is there a political anime? You know what I mean? Like I could do this. Like Octopimp? That guy made like the free, like dub series. I forget the name of it. I watched it all. I want to let you know at least however many episodes on your channel times 1. That's how many views you got from me. Don't get mad at me. But if there's an anime about like if there's an anime that has a scene of you in a courthouse or something, or like a scene of you in like a Congress setting, let me know, and I'll make an AMV fan cut of them talking about global warming, but like with the stupidest lines. I think that'd be funny. In like a haha, this guy's way too childish, and we maybe shouldn't listen to him kind of way. What the fuck is the body like not rotating correctly? Like what is the rotation of the model? But the movement works. Like the movement works on nicely. But it's because I'm using local rotation, which is different from the actual rotation. So maybe I just use transforms for everything. Maybe I just don't do local for anything. In which case, how would I do this? Like, how would I turn him around without it feeling like it's on ice? I don't like the feeling of being on ice. Yuri on ice. Tonight on something something central. Maybe do like 0. Still the same issue. What exactly causes this? For me, it's full of deep meaning. Many, many deep meanings. Many deeps. Why does it slowly churn? Let me think about this. Just let me think about this. Watch Terry churn as I think about why it slowly churns. My hand is off the mouse. It just keeps churning. Why is it churning? Because I'm making a rotation. If you set the rotation, I'm making a rotation from the value that it is. I know exactly why. It's directly correlated to the value of the yaw on the camera. As you approach 0, it gets slower. As you go higher, as you go away from 0, it gets faster. So it's exactly the rate of change. It's because of the way that it's because of the way that the world transform works. Because the world transform of the camera is always whatever the transform of its parent is, plus its local. Like that's why. I have a solution. We fix it here. Because I'm 99% certain that I'm doing this. Here I'm probably using local. Yeah. So just do rotation. And we do rotation here, so no local. Until I figure out how to do local and world, we don't do it. And that still doesn't fix it. I do like the way it makes me feel. I'm gonna vomit. Why am I even bothering to reload it constantly? This thing has... I close all my windows. This thing has hot reload. We can change the code and just keep it running. But it just closed everything. Sorry. I hate Windows shortcuts, like the way that you hold a window. Sometimes I want to shake a window like I'm strangling someone, okay? Like, is that so much to ask for? Microsoft says yes. So when you shake a window like you're strangling someone, it minimizes everything. Except that window. It's like, fuck, I can't be angry. I can't even be angry with my computer. Computer? Suck. Sure. What if I just do this? Wait a minute. That's the solution. I'm trolling. I'm so stupid. Well, still kind of slow. Yeah, because I want to set the transform of the thing. So, aka, it's like transform. How come it doesn't work with like local though? Like, I don't understand. Because when you're attached to the scene, your local transform is the same as your world transform. No, it should be like the exact same thing. I can't see why it's not exactly the same thing. Am I just stupid? I don't know. No, I'm not stupid. I'm ignorant and overconfident. I have an ego, and I must learn to. I have an ego. There go. Ergo, we no go. I'm gonna just leave it like I'm gonna leave it like this. We'll come back to it. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next major thing, which is throwing snowballs. We have the ability to make a snowball. I need to remove the collision on the thing while it's in our hands. First off. And then we need to be able to throw it. The problem is I don't remember what these systems are. Wait, no, I do. I remember. Snowballer makes a snowball. Yeah. Because the model. Figure it out, bucko. What the fuck was I smoking? This is why my scale is weird, by the way, probably. So I have this. I just get rid of that. I think that was for rolling it. That was for rolling it. So when you roll it, that's when that matters. But until you do, it doesn't really matter. You like to shake windows. You have wobbly windows turned on, and it's nice and relaxing. You especially like to throw them into corners and see them bounce. You might like this game. Uh, you might actually love this game. It's on Newgrounds called Interactive Buddy. Hold his hand, be all nice with him. You can hold his hand, make him happy. Then you can get like an item. So let's use fist. Just just like whack him in the face. Like it's really loud. So let me lower the volume here. Actually, sorry. Let me just lower the. Let me lower. Where's the volume for this thing? Where's the volume for this thing? I don't have my volume slider. Don't run! So yeah, you might like this game. It's called Interactive Buddy on Newgrounds. And it's not in the adult section, so it's fine for me to link, but very, very fun. It makes him sad. And you punch him hard enough, he actually falls asleep. See? So now he's asleep. He's taking a nap, right? Holy fuck. You're so lucky. You're so lucky that you didn't hear the noise. It was so loud. Holy shit, my ears are blown. It was so loud. It's fine. See, he's fine. He survived. There's an Interactive Buddy 2 now. I should actually also update on the stick space thing. I'm changing tact. What I want to make for stick space is like a Sims like knockoff. Because I think it'd be funny to see different chat memories and we simulate your lives at all times, right? And then you can spend points or do stuff. And it tries to do what you want it to do. And I wanted to build this thing where it takes a sentiment of who you are and tries to build a sense of who you are as in terms of your general chaos meter. Or your goodness or something. Different characteristics about you from the things that you say in chat to then drive your character. Because I like The Sims as a concept. I don't like Sims 4 as a game because of how neutered it is by the DLC, as well as some of the issues with the way that it doesn't simulate things. And I thought, why don't we just do it but for chat? So that's project number 3. Project number 2 in s&box is a whole different thing. Let's focus on project number 1. We haven't even gotten out of the starting gates. I need to make the throw snowball thing work. And the reason why this was complicated last time is because the controls are modal. So not like a modal, well, where you have a thing on top of your screen. No, I think front-end I'm pretty sure front-end devs just co-opted that term because I don't know reasons, but I'm talking about modals a modal in terms of you switch modes. Well, I guess it actually does make sense for. Anyways, the point is that this has to be you have to switch a mode to make your primary and your secondary do something else. Because I'm thinking about controller, where you want to throw things or do things, and your item may have things contextual input based on what you have. I know I said a long time ago that I hated contextual input. But I also recognize that I don't have a good solution for it. I still hate it, even if I'm the reason why it exists here, okay? The reason why this was difficult was because our control model was doing that without the assumption, because I thought the way that you map the controls could be fine, and then I realized that the reason why things weren't working was because of the way that controls conflicted, so we need to redo all of this, actually. We also need a way to actually see what the state of the player is at any moment in order to enable and disable certain controls. Oh, God. And this is the other part of it. I wanted to actually make use of Action Graph for this. Because Action Graph is really the thing that hooks it up, right? That's the thing that hooks it up. To send, signals all over the place to be hey, okay, you know, we'll have like a modal thing where it says like, okay, we switched to this state, and these states can only go towards these states. And then and when you enter those states, it would then send out these like signals that we could hook up as part of like the Ashing graph, flow in order to like activate or deactivate certain scripts, right? Certain components. I just remember last time my head didn't make sense of the model of Ashing graph because visual scripting to me isn't the front to God. We're going to see God gives his greatest developers the hardest challenges. I'm never joining an organization. They'll probably never accept me. I'm too much for a brand risk. You know what's funny actually, chat? I almost said chat today at like work because I was explaining something, and it's so funny because like basically when I talk about you chat, I treat you guys like my children. Like the way that I talk to you all, it's like I treat you all like this like very very innocent but also very deadly amorphous blob that just happens to have a lot of capability, but no way to channel that into something meaningful. So like when I was trying to explain something at like work, I was like, "Yep, that's just the way it goes." And this is the second time now. I think my coworkers are onto me because they started talking about no joke. I was like, I swear to God, like one of them is in my chat because I started work today. I go on. Okay. So yesterday they were talking about the World of Warcraft. And I made a joke about how, okay, well, that's weird because everyone else was talking about it too in the Discord channel. And I was like, every time they release a new World of Warcraft thing, uh, player state, like player control state, yeah, sure. I imagine that productivity worldwide goes down to like near nothingness, right? And at the time it was funny, but like now that I think about it, I'm like, how the fuck did they know to talk about World of Warcraft, right? Then as soon as I started today, I went in the morning after reading messages from other chat members about the new expansion being amazing. First thing I see is, hey, have you guys played the new WoW expansion yet? And I was like, oh my god, I swear to God, they're in my chat or this globally well known. There's no way that this globally well known game. There's a reason why they're saying these things. There's no way. But yeah, did you know that it used to be available in Syria, and then in 2011 bad things happened, and then my coworker couldn't play anymore? I didn't know about these things. I actually didn't know. I didn't even know that there were sanctions. But yeah, it was a very interesting talk actually, because all of us are very diverse. But like now knowing about like okay, like this is how it happened and what went down, I was like, damn, sucks. But I heard that the story was really good. So again, if you're like a WoW player or who wants to play, please join my channel because we have only 2 WoW players, 3 so far, and I think they're crying for help. Like they want a friend, but they don't know how to say it. Because otherwise, why would they type instead of this channel? I'm just saying. Listen, I don't know if Final Fantasy 14 has it anymore. Okay, I think WoW is starting to peak here. How do you make actions and events again? What's your documentation? Give me a documentation. Give me a documentation. Give me a documentation. No, give me a documentation. Dog. Visiting this page. Get started. Why is it so hard to find their documentation? It's actually impossible to find their documentation. What was the syntax for this again? Ashing graph? Here we go. Now, this is where I wish the audio ducking was in because I'm going to get really quiet as I read because this is the one thing that I forgot to read, and I'm sorry. I was supposed to read this last night, but I slept after having a really good cup of Nestea. Use nodes, expression. Links between nodes carry values of signals. That makes sense, yeah. Those appears right now. Right click. All nodes are specific to the link value type. The root node is the entry point. It'll be the only node in the new graph and can't be deleted. Only output sockets. One signal socket and another some value types. The graph accepts parameters. When the graph runs, the signals from the output When the graph runs, the signals fed from the output signal socket of your root node. Follow any links to other signals, causing them to run too. Oh, that's a signal. So that's a signal that just happens, and you can do anything from that. Expression nodes perform calculation based on their inputs while changing any state elsewhere. They don't have any input output signal sockets. Okay, so these will always run when any of their output values are used by another node. Like, how far does this go? Did you go down like super far? Like, is it like 5 levels deep? Does it still run? I feel like that'd be weird. But maybe you want that. It's almost like a transformer on like some state somewhere. You know what I mean? I know what I mean. So if you don't know what I mean, then something's wrong with you. Actually, knows blue, and he knows what the these those trigger things that happen when receiving a signal. With a one input and one output signal, the input will trigger the node to run. The input will fire when the node is finished. The loops links to the output. Link between signal. Okay, signal. Oh, yeah, things like you can also reroute nodes. Shift click to organize links. Your routes can be linked in a way that loses a cycle. Should be most of all links for you want to use a high code style. You can set in the property depending on when the select. Ah, how do you use variables? Variables use the main private. We don't explain questions. From an output with the value type you want the variable to hold, selecting add variable and giving it. That's your node name. You should create more nodes. It's the variable to look at the variable. You know, so use a variable. You must have a variable to that. It's like a variable from the thing. Okay, how do you make your own? I want to make my own. Add a delegate type property. What? Yeah, okay, what's the difference between a delegate and making my own custom nodes? Like, what is the... I'm assuming delegate is a thing that fires, and a custom node is a thing that you can use within your Ashen graph to do custom stuff. Ashen resource C# method. Making a custom method node in C# is the right method. Yeah, stag method. Okay, and you get the attributes, and then it displays here. You agree on making the Ashen game? What? But no, directly, it's like I don't know. But I don't want to appear not possible. That is slightly rude now. We can and then this is how you can reuse all your code through Ashen graphs, and you go further and further and further. I don't want to do that because I feel like that's visual programming is in this weird space where like it's possible to make a lot of complexity, but it's like though a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'm not a good artist. So like, do I really want to use Ashen graphs to write my own code? I don't know. And I feel like that's one of the flaws of the system. Maybe if you're really good at organizing things in a visual way, maybe it could work. But I think at a large enough level, well, maybe it's the same. Maybe it's just an overstated complexity. In my mind, the visual aspect of it makes it more difficult at a larger level to know things, right? Because in code, you can kind of organize things in like different ways and stuff. Like you can organize with categories, or you can organize with like classes or just abstractions. But you could do that in Ashen in like visual programming languages too. Like every visual scripting language has the ability for you to like split something out into its own thing. And then you have the ability to like label things. I mean, we've used things to like label things before, so it's like, is it really bad? Not necessarily. Maybe programmers are just wrong. Yeah, I'm just wrong. I'm just wrong. Whatever. I probably will see this right there, but for a property to be usable as an Ashen graph, it must have a delegate type. We've seen the type Ashen, which states in no parameters and returns nothing. For the new Ashen graph second, if you want to pass in parameters, you use a different delegate type. Use this to pass in parameters. These will be passed into the action instead of just a signal. Sorry. Then you do that. Then so you have this. Rename them. Okay. Yep. Custom delegate type. And they'll take the same. Okay, so look at template. If it's actually, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it to have that. I don't know. Can't tell. Also, give me 1 second. I need to make a quick call, actually. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Back from more reading in the silence. Everyone shut up. Okay, so we called it properly. Like, I think I meant that directly. Action hasn't been created in the end yet. This will throw a null. Okay, yeah. See if we can check for nulls to invoke it like that. For that. Passing from variance, running it, and returning values. Delegates with return types. When you run it and then I see it's gonna give something. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. You said to remind me of Polycule and Ducks. No. Okay, Polycule in half an hour. I actually forgot what that was about, so we'll never know. But you have to tell me the duck in like an hour and a half. I actually don't remember what that was about too. I don't know. See? That's the mystery. Now that feature will never be implemented in this game because you failed. You failed. You failed to take over and be my product manager for free, like the YouTube viewers tend to do because they get angry at me. So many YouTube viewers are mad at me that I don't explain what we're doing. And it's like, my brother in Christ, this is a VOD. Like, I'm not gonna spend too much time on the VOD. Like, I'm gonna spend maybe like 5 minutes, like a day, checking a comment. If it takes longer than 5 minutes, I'll like answer in like 5 months. Because why do I want this? Because I need to know what the current state of the player is. Is there an easy way to implement? Does C# have like a simple built-in, like almost like state graph thing? C# state, what was it? State graph? State machine? Is there like a built-in one? State machine workflows. .NET State Machine is the organization name. An organization that's built around maintaining a state machine. To be fair, state machines aren't very complicated. How about we just say what our current mode is and we just have an enum? That's a very simple solution to compare to like a full state machine that has very defined rules around what can traverse to what's the next step, what can you do afterwards. We'll leave it up to developer knowledge because we have to anyways. The one thing that I kind of get sad about with state machines is that in theory they're really good, but in practice, almost always, I've always found them to feel like a self-documenting series of restrictions that could have been achieved by a comment and good care. Not to say that that's necessarily a good replacement for a state machine, just that it's funny that the way that state machines are kind of like are as a system, it's so good for stuff like, say, a modal control state where you go in and out of different like layers, but also so bad for people to use because either way you need to know how to use it, so you need to go through and understand all the rules anyways. It just forces you to before you can do anything, which is kind of like half the, like 99% of the value. But who am I to say? You see, Chad, I've changed. By this point, I would have said like corporate cuck at least like 5 times. I haven't said it once except for that one time because I'm just so stuck into, you know, I'm a corporate cuck now. Like, I have a normal life now. I've got shit to do now. And it sucks. I don't have time to like build stuff anymore. Can I put enums anywhere? Is there why is everything in C# like a class? Like, why does everything have to be a class? I don't understand. Like, does it have to be a class? I feel like that's wrong. What the fuck? What? Your main function is in a class? What? What do you mean? What? Why? What's the point? What's the point? What is this class doing? What is it? What is this class telling me? What this class is encapsulating at this point in the code? We've gone so far in enforcing a certain structure that I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it. Fucking normie. You too can be a normie. Call 1-800 normal. Yeah, let's put it at the very top. I don't really care. This makes sense to me. I don't know. I don't know, like mode. You know, just mode. I want one where it's like empty, like empty-handed. Snowball in okay, snow. Don't make that joke. Don't make that joke. Snowball loaded. Rolling, plowing, Plowing. Yeah, I think that's good. Can you jump while you're plow? No, that's a whole different situation. These are really the key states here. Like, are you loaded with certain things that change your whole model? Yeah, this is all you really need. Do I even need it at this point? Like, at such a high level? Like, does it even matter? Is because my way is stupid. I could really just put this on like a player thing. Like, I could just name this player and then do everything off of this. And then this thing would just get references to everything to then call some things. I just don't want to do that because then you have to know about the names of those things in like the nice thing about Action Graph is that you don't need to know the exact name of the thing that you're calling from this code. Like this code can just send out a delegate and whatever cares can just listen to it, right? Like that's really really handy to have. Um, but I guess for your own project where you're working on it for the sake of a game jam that's going to finish in 3 days, does it really matter? Not really. I also realized something. Facepunch Studios is giving money in euros. They're also 3 days away. So 24, 24, 72 hours is when the game jam ends. Plus 9, 81 hours. What time is it now? 24 hours from now, 9 p.m. Saturday. Another 48 hours from now, at 9 p.m. Sunday. 72 hours from now, 9 p.m. Monday. This shit ends at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday for me. 6 a.m. on a Tuesday for me. The British have won again. Stupid. That's so stupid. Sorry. No, yeah. So this is a property. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like public mode. Okay, so this is the thing. Field type mode is less accessible than field player dot mode. What? Oh. Sag. They've won again! Namespace does not correspond to file location. Must be s&box. Why don't I put you in here? That works. For exposing APIs. Member with same name is already declared. That works. Sure. Player mode. This feels stupid. Mode. Okay. Well, there you go. Equals empty-handed. Okay, we have that. Then I need to handle all the different state changes. I mean, this is the thing, right? If I do it like this, it's stupid. But everything could just modify this themselves. It'd be weird. All of these would have to have a back reference to the player. And I know you really probably shouldn't be doing it like this, but I just do it like this because I'm lazy to. I don't think the lookup at like runtime is worth it when I just do it like this. But so now this thing. So that's for movement. That's for looking around. So this thing, when you hold a snowball, what is all this? What are all these comments? What is this? What was I smoking? You know, even now, like I look at the code that I write at my job, and I come in the next day, and I'm like, what was I smoking? And then I refactored the entire thing and I pushed it out in like 1 hour. There's something to be said about writing code when you're most effective, because doing it when you're least effective, none of it matters. Like you're gonna throw it away anyways, right? So you might as well do it when you're most effective, because that's the only time that it actually matters. Otherwise, it's useless. Anyway, so when you enter certain modes, primary, secondary. So if you have no snowball, okay, so don't check the snowball object. So I can actually get rid of the snowball object. Well, should I? I should not. I still need to know the snowball is there, so that I can rotate it around. But I can update the player state so that everybody else knows too. So instead of checking what a snowball is, Snowplow controller that enables. See that? This thing. That's what I want to get rid of. The snowplow controller having to know about it. Like, this thing shouldn't care about any other input mode. This thing shouldn't care about you rolling a snowball. This thing should only care about you snowballing. Do not Google do not Google what is snowballing. You are not going to like it. So if I play dot mode equals player mode dot empty handed, that's a mouthful. Oh man, you can't make that stuff up, man. You can't make that stuff up. Talks about snowballs. That's a mouthful. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be better. Just trust me on this. Snowball loaded. All right, so now we set the mode immediately. Player.mode equal player. We load the snowball. Okay, so we spawn the snowball prefab in hands, affect the floor animations, you have stuff like that. There's gonna be like a delay when it clones. We set the parent to the game object that we have here, so it becomes a child. Problem is that it now needs to rotate with us along an axis. So we also need to do the, yeah. Yeah. Why can't I just modify this like directly? What? Huh? What was I smoking? Scale equals. You see what I mean? Like, what was I smoking? Like, I don't understand. What was I doing? Let's just make a new vector 3. How do you make like a new vector 3 but not make a new vector 3? Do you all, I guess you just call it new vector 3. Yeah. New vector 3. 0.1, 0.1, 0.1 for scale. Oops. Oopsie, 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 oopsie. Oopsie, oopsie. Fuck. It's all gone. Well, they definitely made it work like in Vim. I don't know what the fuck that means, but they definitely made it work. Why are you mad? Type. I was actually looking into using. So what's weird is that I didn't used to use Vim, and I got into it because like I like the way that it worked, especially around keyboard movement. And then I realized that I could just remap the keys to movement from arrow keys to my buttons. But then I realized the genius of it is that you have a mode for moving and you have a mode for typing, which means that you can move around afterwards very easily, right? All from the keyboard. And then I realized I should just get like a track wheel. And then we go back to like 90s computing, right? But now it's too late. Like I can't go back to a normal editor. And so I actually think the reason why Vim is so, I guess, lauded is because it's a curse. You start it, you learn it, you then can't unlearn it because using arrow keys feels weird, and you've already bought the split keyboard that puts like half your arrow keys on one, half on the other. Then you're doomed. Then you're stuck with it forever. Okay, so the thing must rotate around the center axis. Yep. And then while we had the snowball loaded, we have to throw it or drop it to start loading. So we drop it. So by default, it should have nothing. And then the rabbit hole is real. You know what's funny? You could say that about anything that I've talked about today. In the past, like, tell me, in the past, like, hour and half an hour. In the past hour and 30 minutes. What have I done? There's a statistic, actually. The Mythical Man Month says that it posits that a developer writing 10 lines of code is a good effort. Like, that is a monumental effort. And then Bjorn Strostrup, the guy who made C++ and some others, as part of their hearing or something, or or maybe it was like a consultation with the government, U.S. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was the DoD or something, or maybe it was the DOE, the Department of Engineering. They were going over what they believe to be the reality of programming based on experience as well as research. What the research showed was that 10 is also like a fairly laudable like goal, like 10 actual functional changes that is not just boilerplate. Um, so when you consider that, I'm below the average, and the average is disgustingly low. I'm just kidding. It's not disgustingly low, but like I'm really below the average. All right, cool. Well, I don't know why I set the scale here. It's just pretty stupid, actually. You realistically want to set the scale as part of this, and then do it inside here because it should do everything inside here. Okay, cool. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. And this thing should just have some way to spawn like a snowball or something. I don't know. It's like a whatever, like a static function. Because doing it like this is kind of silly. And then so now if we do this, do the throw by tossing it really far away on an arc or something. I also want to preview the arc, and I need to figure out how to do that. I think the easiest way is we just. I actually don't know. Actually, how do you preview an arc? Well, easiest way is you just make it so that your throw range is like fucking infinite, and you pretend like there's an arc. But that'd be stupid. Maybe we just throw it, and we don't even have like a preview. We have a preview up to a certain amount, which is easy to do as like a trace, and then after that, like gravity takes over, right? I think that's the easiest way. Because then it's like, well, but then it's gonna feel weird. What if you aim up, right? If you aim straight up and you throw it, it'd be easier to do with force, because then it has like a natural arc to it, which like feels better and makes more sense. Then you have to preview the arc, which requires you to know the current gravity from the engine, which we can get from the physics world. That's easy. As well as the physics system. Well, I mean, primarily the physics world. So you can get the gravity from that, and then you just have to calculate based on that value, converting it to some unit that's in the game. Or just converting it to some unit that makes sense. And then just calculating the arc like you would with like mathematics. Which actually, what's funny is that I'm pretty sure there's like a built-in function for that within C sharp. For some reason, C sharp has a very surprisingly fleshed out and also non-existent math library at the same time. It does a lot of good things. It does a lot of complicated things really, really well, and then it does a lot of things that no one really needs really, really well, and then it doesn't really do the things that you want on a daily basis at all. I don't know why. Okay, so that's a good, I think that's a good idea. We have it all. Just calculate it. Like just okay, just arc it, calculate it based on throw strength plus gravity from engine. We have this. Then draw it in the world similar to a ray trace, but with our own assets. Maybe do like I think the easiest way is probably like this. Easiest way is probably like this. You just have the asset. So you have the arc itself like that. Wait, are we even in the right spot? No, we're inside the chatter. What's it again? Oil baron, CEO of company, world-renowned neuroscientist, landowner. Diamonds to poop. What the fuck is this? Somewhere there is a mechanic hidden here that I really wanted to put into the game. And I don't know why. Somewhere in this section, there are mechanics all over the place. I used the emoji to make this. So, arc. That's the arc that we calculate using very complex mathematics that I'm going to pull open a textbook for. Because, okay, listen, the reality of programming is that if your program is working on some complex shit, like a graphics engine, okay? Look on their desk. They most likely either have a copy of what is it then? The Black Book of Engines, where they break down stuff like the like Doom engine, but also a textbook of like a 10-year-old physics textbook going over the formulas to like do stuff from like physics 101. So I have that textbook actually, so I'm gonna pull that out, and I'm pretty sure I remember that thing talking about arcing and like just in general motion. So motion, we're gonna take that algorithm after, not now, because we'll do that tomorrow. Not that I'm done, but like I just recognize that there's no way that it's not really necessary. We just throw the thing forward and we just hope for the best. The arc itself, knowing the arc beforehand, is not as important as getting the snowball from our hands into your mouth, right? But when we get there, the visual could look something like this, like how you would see it in like a mini clip pool game, right? The like circles, and you see the impact zone as like a radial thing, and etc. Stuff like that. I think that's good. Okay. Okay. Maybe do like the drawing. We do like the drawing. So I had the snowball. I now want to throw this thing. Okay. All I need to do is I need to add a rigid body to it, and then I just apply force to it. It's actually straightforward. Does this give me the component back? Public T. It does. Okay. So const. Well, wait. Do I care about const? What does const do? I'm in JavaScript land. I don't like it there. C# const. Is this the same as what I think it is? Huh? What is this the same as yes. Yeah. It's a static, a constant expression is an expression that can be fully evaluated at compile time. Yep. Okay, so not const. We just do var. So var rigid body. What is the naming scheme? What is the charge? Typo. It's we do this. We have the rigid body, and then we just affect it. So we just do was it force? Apply force at. Yeah, here we go. Applies force to this body at a given position. So we need to apply it from where the player is. Yeah, so just forward, like literally just the forward of the player towards the back of the snowball, the position that's closest to us. How the fuck do you get the closest position on a circle? How do you sample that? How do you sample a surface? Let me think about this. How would I do it? Because you'd have to sample the surface, and you have to do a test of the position of that surface to know how close it is to you as the player. If you want to do it dynamically. Or, wait, that's stupid. No, just go forward from the player, do a ray trace from the player to the object until it hits it, and that's the spot where the force will start to throw from. Right? Is that stupid? I don't know. I guess you could get like... I'm trying to think about this. You have the scale. Can you go from the origin outside? Well, we have to answer this anyways to do the rotation of the snowball around the player's hands in a way that actually makes sense as you turn. Or maybe actually the solution to that is not to rotate the player around like an axis, or not to rotate the snowball around an axis. It's literally just to keep it attached to a position on a player at like some attachment point. That's a much easier way actually. Okay, so ignore that. That's a much easier way. We actually set that up beforehand, so it's not that bad. But for this, how do we do this? If I want to throw it, and I want to start it from directly behind the snowball, you know what it is? I'm falling asleep. So maybe 4 hours was a very, very... I mean, to be fair, it's 3 hours in. So we're actually like 1 hour left, technically. So actually, most of the work that we have to do is all tomorrow. That's going to be really bad. So maybe we only have 2 days left to finish the game jam, technically. But that's fine, because tomorrow's a 16-hour day. But if we can get even more of this done ASAP, then we're good. So let's see. If I can get the position, then we're good. I think what's the best way to do this? Well, I guess it's down to a question of like, do I want the player to throw anything else? If no, it's easy. If yes, we might as well build something dynamic. But then, what does that mean? You know what I mean? To throw something, to throw anything. Why don't I just apply a force to it? And I don't even care about the position because then we could just do this for everything. It'll be kind of weird because like depending on the way that the object is and the way that the character is and the way that it's attached to the player's body, like we have to do the preview. It makes the preview harder when the position isn't consistent, but it doesn't matter because the difference between doing it dynamically like that with a dynamic starting position versus not is the same in terms of the calculation of the arc. So actually, no, it's fine. It's better to do it this way. Okay, so we apply a force straight out by their throw strength. Why do I have a scale here? What? You know, that wasn't used. What? Snowballer. How come a snowballer has no strength? Plower has a strength. Do we take the strength from the plower? Like, if you're better at rolling a snowball, are you better at throwing a snowball? Yes. And, question answered. Yes, you are. Of course you are. But why wouldn't you be? Yeah. Yeah, I should just do these and start it. I don't know why I do these in like an on update. Like, sure, it can disappear on update, but like, well, I guess it is technically better to do it on update, technically, because then you know for sure if it's gone before you do anything. Yeah, it's better. Okay, I should update this one too then, because this should actually should be a part of. This should actually this should all be an on update actually. Because if we can dynamically modify these properties at runtime, which you can, there's no guarantee that it's safe, right? So I also learned more hotkeys actually of my rider. So some might say I'm a strong rider, that I ride well. This IDE is really good. Again, every IDE that I've used has been fantastic. This has been no exception. So it's honestly using like Vim or like Neo Vim and stuff. Cool. LSPs are all right, but the experience still pales in comparison to like a full full on IDE. And my first paycheck is going towards getting a subscription for this because I actually need to use it more for other stuff too. Like a lot of their products. So we might as well do it because we're doing this. I'm doing this on work and off work, and I'm contracting, so I'm using my own shit too. So I might as well. I might as well. I now need to figure out the force. So from the players forward. So. Huh, yes. Game object, let's transfer. Wait a minute. To transform the game object that this belongs to. Oh, thank God. I thought that was the reason why everything was breaking because I got the wrong note, but this is the transform the game object. Okay. Wait a minute. No, that makes sense. And the camera, yeah, okay, sorry. I thought I was getting the transform of the component. That's why everything was wrong. But it's just because my code sucks. Yay. Yay. I love having my code be shit. Hmm. Is there a way to convert? No. It's rotation, sorry. So we get the forward of that. We get the force. So basically to calculate the force, we need to do this. We need to do this. What is bonus strength? What in God's name is bonus strength? Public, uint, get strength. There we go. And then return base strength plus bonus strength. There we go. There we go. And then we go snowballer. Oh fuck, that's my Snowjob assembly. You don't want to see inside there. That's you're not supposed to see that. Okay, get strength. This is stupid. And then the force of this is technically this times the forward. And this value is going to be funny because this value also determines how quickly you roll the ball too. Oops. And then, sorry, times that. There we go. I don't know. Let's see if this works. I imagine this might not be good, but let's see how it goes. So I do it like this. I need to then set the parent to nothing. So snowball, let's set parent to no. Yeah. So then when we apply the force, because we're still within the update, no other systems have taken part. This includes like gravity. Is that true? Actually, is that true? Anyway, it has to be. It has to be true because their systems can be defined as a pre-physics, post-physics, which means they've just hooked it all into like the source engine lifecycle as well. So yeah, it's true that by this point, because we're within this particular update, gravity hasn't taken hold. Because right now it's currently it's detached, has a rigid body, will start to fall, but before it does, we apply a force to it based on the player's strength. And wherever it goes is wherever it goes. We then need to set a lifetime on this thing. I do have to deal with time. Oh fuck, I had to deal with time. Okay, well, I want like an expires at component. Is there already like an expires at component? Basically, you throw enough of these bad boys, right? And they don't do anything or they don't land on something that's useful. They will eventually just clog up the map. Which is bad. Because you don't want that. The only time that I actually envision these snowballs doing anything interesting is when you throw it and it lands on somebody. We would then, at that moment of impact, using a collision listener, make it disappear. And then, I don't know, like, dynamically generate a mesh of like snow in your face. So you like wipe it off. The idea is to use a tomorrow we're implementing dynamic terrain as well as a dynamic snow mesh layer on top of everyone that we can sort of apply to make like snowfall on you. That actually surprisingly might not be the most complicated bit. I think that might be one of the least complicated bits. Just because that's fairly understandable. 2.12 gigabytes. 16 millisecond frame time. Isn't that dog shit? Was it? What? Oh, but we're currently here in like debug mode. But isn't that like awful? Wait, how much frame time do you have on the average for 60 FPS? I'm too lazy to calculate. Wait, it is 16. Sorry. Yeah, 16. 144 is like 7.2 or something. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Close that. Yeah. Close that. Yeah. Close the street. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. What am I doing again? Don't ever make me look at the Razer ever again. I also need to figure out the UI. I was gonna do UI today, but maybe it's better if I do it tomorrow, because Blazor kind of makes sense to me, but also doesn't. But also, like, I'm no longer rusty at HTML and CSS. I'm like only kind of rusty now, because I've been working with it since I started. I actually hate working with it. Every time I work with HTML and CSS, I'm reminded of how it's not. The language is simple. Just a couple of like open brackets, right? And like, you know, knowing the selected syntax into open brackets, like that's the syntax. And then everything else about the language, like the div and the button and stuff, or like a CSS, the specific like selectors, like hover states, or like even like just the keywords that you use, like say blend mix mode. That's all APIs. There's like thousands of them. We have this. We do that. Separating to no. So we need an expires at. See if there's already built-in expires at. Can I make the player expire? Delete. This is done. We might as well make it on our own. What's nice is that this can be a difference between here and now. So it doesn't matter if the time is off. What matters is that the difference between now and the future is consistent, or at least consistent within the time scale. Does time scale affect time in the thing? Maybe that thing about the time made the bug issue about the time wasn't actually correct. It wasn't a bug. In fact, doesn't Gary say something about this? Didn't Gary say something about this? I saw that Gary said something about this. Like, I'm not even memeing. Like, look. Something to be aware of is that this can change depending on where you're calling it. For the most part, it will return the time to the current scene. So any scene callbacks, the component function should return the correct time. Just something to think about if you're seeing weirdness somewhere. The time since game startup. Okay, well, that's not what I need, actually. Last frame and the current. But delta time is a matter of frame time. For all intents and purposes. And frame time is not the same as game time scale. Game time scale is different. Do I want the deletion of something to be tied to game time scale? Probably. But what does that mean? Real time. Access to real time. What is the difference between what? The time delta of real time. Global now. Since the epoch time. Yeah. This should match between servers and clients if they have their time zone set correctly. Yeah. The games, and this is for synchronization. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So what I'm thinking of is like this. I mean, do I want it to be affected by like time scale? That'd be kind of weird. To have like the deletion of something of an object be affected by time scale. But also that would kind of make sense. As like a slow down time mechanic. Like if you want to throw a shit ton of snowballs in a slow down time to make it faster for you, that'd be the only way to make it make sense. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, alright, yeah. Well, we'll name this as the about to die. About to die. That's so good. Yeah, okay, so about to die. Okay, you go here, and then we need a time of when this thing is about to die. Which is like a difference between like now and then. And then I feel like this is stupid. I guess I could just get real time now, and then real time later. And see if it's past that amount of time. By just seeing on like update if it's been passed. And then just delete the game object. Yeah, sure. Okay. What exactly is real time now? It's probably the easiest way. It's a float. Now. Well, sorry, not now. Created at. Let's just use database terms. Fuck it. Doesn't really matter. Property. Float. Expires in. Well, no, but let's just say expires at. You calculate this right as you create this thing, right? So like on start. Yeah, override void. Okay, how do you do the override stuff? Protected, right? Because you can only override from protected. I don't know why that stuff never sticks in my head. I was actually talking to somebody on my team because they're like, new to the industry, and they were like, "How do you know so much?" And I found that funny because like I don't really know much, man. But I had to tell them it's like you can't shortcut certain things. You know what I mean? Like you can't know everything either. The truth is, you knowing something is just a function of time and space. How much time and space do you have to learn something? How much space in your life do you have to remember this and only this? Most people don't have any. So you end up in a space where, though you may forget, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're worse. It just means that you've got other more important things to think about. Well, for you, I'm just worse. do start. We do like this. I don't there's no need to do base. Expires at equals real time dot now times, I don't know, what's like a good expiry time for this? Huh. When do you call the once before the first update when enabled? I guess you could have like a property here too. Public float offset times, and an offset could be like 5 minutes and seconds. Not 5 minutes and seconds. I guess like for now it could be like, well, it has to be 5 minutes eventually. What is 5 minutes and seconds? What's 5 times 60? Well, I feel like I know the number. It's 300. I'm really tired. Okay, so times offset. Sure. Is this stupid to handle it like this? Realistically, I might want to do this as like a system, right? Because how many of these bad boys could be what? There is no suitable method for override. Oh. What do you mean? Oh, it's called on update, sorry. Because it's like, if all these things pull the time, is that bad? I don't know. I don't know. Because I would need to get real time dot now. Like basically if real time dot now greater than or equal to like expires at, we just then delete the game object dot destroy. Will actually destroy the start of the next frame. What does destroy media do? Calling this might cause some problems. You know what? You've changed my mind immediately. You're absolutely right. That's why you wait until the start of next frame to let all the updates run and then you kill it. So we kill the game object that's attached to if there's an about to die stuck on it. Okay, cool. And then we attach an about to die on the snowball itself. So snowball, the components, the create. Wait, no. About to die. How do you pass default properties to things when you create them? I feel like that's a pattern that should exist. Start enabled. True. Or add a component of this type. Or is it that you start it disabled to then add the thing and then do the enabled? Like, that feels like too much information for it to know. That doesn't feel like it shouldn't. Like, the callers of this thing shouldn't need to know. But I guess if you're doing it like this anyways, then you kind of need to know the life cycles. I feel like I'm stuck back in like Ruby or PHP hell with like magic functions. Can be made private. No, we're gonna set that now. Okay. About to die. I'm sure people have named these things funnier. We'll do like 5 seconds just to test. So 5, yeah. Why is it in floats? Do I care about floats? Not that it really matters, I guess. 64-bit, 64-bit. It's all the same. All you really have on top of that is the Mantissa. But like in terms of like hits your performance, that's probably like a 0. Especially when you consider that C# itself, the runtime's probably doing something weird with it, so I assume it's fine. Cool. So when you throw the snowball, we make sure that it's about to die within 5 seconds. We then throw it based on the plower strength, and which you have to set beforehand. We apply the force that way, facing outwards from where the player is looking. Cool. So if I do plower, somebody come get her. We're gonna plow her. It can't be. It can't be 0 too. It must be at least 1. Because zero would just make nothing. Well, I guess zero could be interesting. Because then you could just fall to your feet if you're like a weakling, right? You're a phony. How fast is 200? Because gravity is like 600 by default. Okay, so we need snowballer as well. So snowballer. These are stupid names. We need to think about these names. Flower. Be the player. We need a bit more stuff here. You can set the mode by default. I don't think you would ever want to do that, and I feel like that'd be kind of troll. So maybe I just force that to be empty-handed at all times. I guess it would make sense if you could maybe start like a scene in the middle of something. I could see actually many use cases where that could be interesting. Like say those like sequences where you're playing as another character and you start out already there as another character. I think that could be cool actually. Okay, so we save that. We know about the way to find assets now. So prefabs are stored in your like asset whatever browser. You didn't even wait. It didn't even wait. Dog. What? Snowball, plowable, kaleidosphere. There's no way the collider is making it act that way. You know what? Fine. I'll get rid of you. For now. For now. I also realized that the factor. So the reason why it's probably so large is because of the factor calculation. Because what's 1 times 1 of the mass? Well, the mass of which is 1, it's 1. So you set the scale to 1. That's why my calculation makes it's like so fucking huge. Okay, so why did it just fall? Why did you fall? Oh, also Sunday is tomorrow we finish everything. Sunday is art and like the music stuff because we need to figure out the art stuff. I have an idea of what I want for the art stuff, so it's not gonna take too long. The music stuff we're just gonna jam. I have a bunch of demos on my phone saved up over like the last like 4 months. So we're just gonna choose which one feels good and what style feels good, and it'll be a very rough selection that I'll polish like after we do the game jam. After the game jam, and then Monday is obviously the final polish plus the upload and making sure that the multiplayer fully works. Because none of this is synchronized. So we're trying to figure out how to synchronize this stuff. It's gonna be the entire Monday. Drop to start rolling. And the rollable snowball component. Yeah, okay. And player.mode equals empty-handed. So now the player is empty-handed, having thrown the snowball. Input.pressed. Maybe this should be input.pressed actually. So it wasn't pressed before and now it's pressed. Wasn't pressed before and now it's pressed. When it switches modes, it needs to be aware of that. And everything else needs to be aware of the modes too, but there's only really one mode so far. While 200 is like meaningless in terms of force. Like in terms of force, 200 is like nothing. Why is it so weak? Why are you so weak? Kaleidosphere. Kaleidosphere. Why is it so weak? Okay, so let's save that, I think. Why are you so weak, eh? Die. You're supposed to die! Son of a bitch, is it because it's a prefab? Is it because it's a prefab? I guess that makes sense. So I have a prefab. I made the prefab. Should I just... What's this? Convert the switch statement. This looks awful. Although I did find this out actually. C# has a very good pattern for pattern matching that extends everywhere. So you can even do this idea of like But I actually like their pad. I really enjoy their pattern matching. I think a bit more than most of the languages because it allows you to be as verbose as you need, but it doesn't force you to be verbose as a default. So, for instance, this matches everything except for null, and so you get a guaranteed physics body, which could be null from the rigid body physics body. Because when you first create it, it's like nice. Why won't you die? How do I force this thing to not be a prefab anymore? How do I force this not to be a prefab? Snowball prefab.clone and snowball dot prefab prefab break from prefab. We are cloned from a prefab. Stop that. That's funny. I guess that's kind of weird the way that you have to handle the prefab state on your own, huh? Like it makes sense. Because what if you want it to be like a prefab and you don't want to be updated? But at the same time, it's like, is that a good default? Or is it better to have the default as a, like basically, is it better to have the default be it's never attached to the parent that it's created from? It simply defines the initial state? Or is it better to have a prefab always be disconnected and then you have to selectively decide which one should stay connected? That's a design question. They can figure it out. Okay, so now it's detached. I throw it. Yeah, see? Okay, well, now it has about to die. Don't get it. Did I calculate this wrong? Real time dot now greater than or equal to expires at. Then it's about to die. That's in seconds. What? It should be more than the last time. Yeah. Expires at. I guess one way to know is I just console.log what is the current time. Right? Like what if I just console.log? Oh, sorry. What's the logging again? That's like some logging thing. Cheat sheet. I need you. Cheat sheet. Sometimes you know what you're looking for, but you don't know where it is. Thank you. Log.info. Real time dot now. What the fuck? I did the math wrong, didn't I? Nice. Worked. Cool. Works exactly as you would expect. It was just a little bit of a math problem. It's always a math problem, right? See, that's why. What's his name again? Was it LeVar Burton? The guy who did the Reading Rainbow. That's why he was essential, right? Without him, people like me grow up to become professionals. Like, no joke. If you've been in a hospital in Canada, you're welcome. In both ways. Okay. So we've done that. We've done that. What else do I do? I don't know. What else is there to do? August 23rd. No, not August 3rd. God, it feels like a lifetime ago. It's crazy. I started working like last week Wednesday. And it's like it feels like and like the month is already over. I'm not even done building out like the Halloween game list. Like the Halloween sorry, the October Scarefest list of games. It's gonna be hard. With a snowball throw, snowball roll, we drop it. Basically the same behavior, but it will not die. We don't let it die. We let that bad boy live. So we do this, set parent. No. And we also do player mode. I don't think I'll get the trains. Crouching is easy, so I can do it tomorrow as like a bonus because crouching is like a whatever thing as a bonus. I don't know if I can do items in time. I don't really know if that's worth it yet because that's like a bunch of functionality that I still don't even know about. Like we still need the attachment point for the snowball to stay in your hands to rotate it around, which I think is fine as a position on. Well, how'd it work? I guess I'll just have it as a game object that rotates around, right? Game object attached to the model. As the whole thing rotates, that thing should rotate too. It is interesting actually that the snowball doesn't rotate with me actually right now. No, it makes sense. Wait, no. It kind of does. It's because of the model. It's because of the rotation. There's also the rotation delay problem. If I solve that, then theoretically that is solved too. Actually, then it's okay. Yeah. I just need to solve why it doesn't churn as fast. So now we drop it. Good. Drop it. So it's not gonna die. Or maybe we let it die like way later. Oh fuck. I don't like that feeling. We also need to check to where if it falls off the world, things will just die. Yeah. I need a system that checks everything that falls off the world. How do I do okay, maybe a system. Okay, so system that catches things that fall off the world. If marked as important, teleported back to nearest. No, not nearest. Well, if I do nearest, then the game is open for speedrunning. Teleported back to origin point. If not marked as important, delete it. Yeah. That's for just making sure that nothing fills up. Okay, so that's one thing I need to do. Oh my god. So we do this, we do that. What do I want this to feel like? I now need the player to lock onto it by left clicking onto it to then start rolling it, which will then show off the reason why we have this like turret control scheme. And I need to clamp the looking as well. And I need this thing. Do we want snowballs to eventually disappear? You know what? That'd be kind of fun. Because then it's like it takes real effort, right? But is it meant to be stressful? Is it meant to be a stressful game? Why don't we have it be a natural function of it getting smaller in mass over time? Right? The larger it is, or if it's attached, it won't get any smaller. Oh, sorry. If it's attached, it won't get smaller. If it's in your hands, it won't get smaller. Because the player character in this game generates no heat, for they're already dead because they're simply angels living in a snowy landscape, playing for that last, playtime before they go to heaven. That's not the actual story. And then, but when it's on the floor, whereas it's flying, it'll disappear. No, but then that's the thing. While it's flying, I don't want it to disappear. Like if you throw a snowball, I want that shit to land on something. I think that's easy. As long as we calculate a sense of like whether or not you stopped. So if you're in motion and you're off the floor, which is straightforward, just do a ray trace down of like 1 or 2 units. Maybe 3, considering how like strange the physics can be with certain, or not strange, but just how like very minuscule the physics can be. Maybe like 3 units down. If you're on the floor, then you start to melt. If you're moving, if you're not on the floor, okay. So snowball throw. Let me just write this down. Snowball throw. Okay, snowball melting. Snowball melting. If moving and not on the floor, no melt. If in player hand, no melt. Explain it as the player is being dead and thus generating no body heat. That's fine. Every game has to have that weird dark angle, right? If I do that and this game gets huge, MatPat comes out of retirement and says, "Game theory, the players are actually dead." Because look at how the snowball doesn't melt in your hands. And then he like does like a real life shot of like, but look at the snowball in my hands. It melts. Just like my retirement. Moving it on the floor, no melts. If in player hand, no melts. Therefore dead. If moving and on floor, no melt. I guess in general, if moving, no melt. If still, slowly melt. Smaller balls melt faster. Larger balls melt slower. So your mass, the speed at which you melt is inversely correlated with your mass. Is it inversely or is it directly? I guess it depends on which way you point the value. If we assume everything moves in positive, it's the same positive scale, then it's inversely correlated with your mass. The speed at which the snowball disappears and thus the scale scales down, like the mass of the snowball, is inversely correlated to the mass of the snowball. So it gets faster and faster and faster the smaller you go until finally it hits some breakpoint, like 0.3 something, and it just pops out of existence. Just poof. And we can do like a particle effect of like poof, just like a puff of snow. And then if you listen very, very closely, you can hear Jack Frost like crying. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay. I like it. Let's give it a shot. Also, this factor needs to be afloat then. Snowball. You need to be afloat. Sorry, buddy. Float on by. This is... Well, I actually want this to be 0.1. So that must now be a 0.1 factor. Then the snowball can do the melting over here based on this. Yes. It's kind of weird because the model, it's just a basic sphere. Figured out bucko. I got this. Yeah, I guess it depends on the default size of the model, huh? Hmm. If one unit... No, I should make that always the same. One unit is one unit across everything. Because when you normalize it all to the same scale, it's probably easier from an asset creation perspective too. The more that I think about this, like if somebody's making the model and they base it off of the one unit, and they want it to be small, they would just make it 0.1 units anyways. So me saying the mass here, which would then set the scale to 0.1, would be the same. Other yeah. Forget local for now. I don't really know. I don't know how local interacts with thing. Maybe I don't know, or maybe I just don't understand it. But for some reason, it doesn't work as well for me. So I don't know. Because we do that, and then as it gets, so every single frame we calculate how much larger it gets. So let's do 0.3. You start at 0.3. Threshold. So threshold for like dying. Then I don't need about it. Then I don't need this. I did all the work for nothing. uh, hmm. How do I set a default on this? I could apply it to the snowball by default, and it's disabled. But then everything that spawns a snowball has to remember to enable it. Prefabs have a kind of a weird state of being, huh? I guess because like a prefab is the one thing that you kind of want almost like a constructor pattern on. It's nice that it's a game object and that it handles the same across the board. But the way that you use it, it's unlike any other game object. Well, actually, is that true? That's not true. All game objects are kind of the same in the way that they work. You have to like you would want a constructor of some kind for them anyways, but you can't, so you have to build it yourself, piece by piece, like layer by layer. Yeah, you know what? I'm wrong. Why even bother fighting against the system when you're wrong? Uh, death threshold. I don't know why I did get set. This is stupid. This was from an earlier time when I didn't understand the complexities of properties and why they're getter and setters, and if you had to define them by default. Death threshold. I mean, this really should be like 0.1. Yeah. F. Okay. And then when I go to snowball my prefab, I can do this by default. It has a snowball component. What am I doing over here? I can enable, I can disable it by default. So I think we enable it for this, no matter what we do. Well, does it matter to enable it for throwing? Maybe. Not. You wouldn't. For throwing, you'd probably want to apply almost like a component that treats it like a bullet of some sort. Because there's a hit detection which is similar to any other throwable item, right? Which is effectively just like a bullet in like a game. And then you would apply a decal if you wanted to optionally on impact, or you would do something on impact. That could be a delegate in order to do the mesh deformation or the mesh creation to build like a dynamic, like a snow layer on anything that you hit. That could be kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because then the delegate could like be like, okay, well, do this if it hits like these things. Is that stupid? Because all it really needs to know is that it hits something. And then I guess the things that it reacts to. I guess it would be the things that it reacts to. Because if you throw it against the ground, and the ground is like all snow, it wouldn't do anything. If you throw it against a tree, it would just leave like a decal. You throw it against a player, it would leave like a mound of snow where you hit them. Especially on their face to cover the camera. If you throw it at like a snow structure, it would leave something. Then it could be on the responsibility of the thing that it hits to define what to do. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so we'll do. Okay, so when snowball. I mean, it's really about like a throwable thing. Uh, Similar in everything. Even the way that it arcs. Even in movements. And then yeah. Delegate for when impact. Those impacted by it can determine what to do. It may not even need to be a delegate. It could just be a collision listener, right? Collision listener, pull in the target of the hit, see if it has some component that says can react to, snowball hit, and call the function on it to make it react to a snowball. Have I fully entered the C# realm / Java realm where we're now building too many abstractions? Maybe. Maybe. We're probably too many layers deep for it to really matter. Maybe. Maybe. So the snowball, yeah, snowball only really needs to be set, like the component for the snowball only really needs to be set when we throw it. So it doesn't even have to be here by default, necessarily. It kinda does, for the sake of the look. Maybe tying. There's a lot of rules that it has to do. And disabling is really the easiest way to like do it. Hmm. Because when you spawn the snowball, you want to adjust the size once when you spawn it, which is, I guess, there's a life cycle for that. You don't want it to enable it until you put it on the floor as a snowball to roll. You know, I'm also realizing that actually at the extremes, it should get. Maybe it should be like a velocity in terms of how long you haven't moved it. Therefore, it starts to melt faster. Like if you touch it recently, you have a lot of time before it starts to accelerate even faster towards oblivion. That way, you have time to go back to it. Like because if you drop a snowball and it was calculated as the inverse of the mass, but like as soon as you drop it, it would just disappear. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll do it like that. So okay, so snowball. Well, but then I have to get the component. Like that's stupid. No, let's just save it on the thing. Save it on the thing. We'll do like an is melting. Can melt. Property. Well, it has to be public. Can can melt equals true here, but here by default false. And either way, we have to get the fucking thing. But at least we get everything else too. Okay, well that's probably easier. Fine, fuck it. Snowball dot components dot get specified ID. I don't know the ID. What? Snowball. This can be null. If it doesn't get it, it's gonna be null. So we just do that. We just do it like that, and then can melt equal false. Can you do that as part of a invocable? The left hand side of the assignment must be a var. Conditional access expression cannot be assigned. That's what I figured. Yeah. Var snowball equals snowball equals that. If snowball, we then do snowball dot we can melt. If that's true, whatever. Yeah, that's good. And then sorry, wait, go like that, go like that. Why is that wrong? Cannot convert type snowball to oh. Is that not an easy way to do that? No, it's fine. We do that like that. I mean, if it doesn't have it, like what to do? This doesn't make any sense because if it doesn't have it, then we're doomed anyways. So why should I even care? This reminds me a lot of like how, because every check that you do is more code that you have to have at runtime to like do things, right? It's wasted cycles. If you really want to optimize, you just don't check for anything. You just go buck wild and you just say, okay, well, try this thing. And if it breaks, then it breaks. It's whatever. But at least you know it's fast. In the case, like, well, if it works, then it works, right? Same principle actually in high frequency trading. In high frequency trading, your code, like if it works, then it works. If it stays on the hot path, it's really good. Anything breaks, it's gonna be slow as shit. But while it works, my god, does it work fast. Ow. Okay, through it. I guess I still do need like a well, not no, I don't need expires that. It's a whole different system now. What? Exception when calling update on snowball. What do you mean? Null reference. Object reference will not be set. The plowable. I never set the plowable. Why does it need to set the plowable? Why did I make that need a plowable? What? I don't know why I need this. Like the mass of it. Oh, because the mass of it. Right. So what's the factor? Oh, the mass times the factor, it makes the thing. That feels like too many things here. I feel like it should just be directly related to mass, right? Because what's the point of the factor? That seems stupid. Sorry, that seems dumb. Yeah. Simplify this down. We do this. We do this. We do pliable dot get mass. Then we do death threshold. So we then do like this. We need to see what's the current value of it going down. I like properties because you get to inspect it too. So it's like, well, I know we just modified the mass. So in the mass, allowable dot mass. You need to set the mass too. Why did I make it a getter? This only dampens the speed. Must tie to the physics mass value. Why did I want to tie this to the physics mass value? I'm gonna give up on the idea of like rolling the snowball being a physics thing because I've seen clips of people playing that game of the game of Sisyphus, and it seems so frustrating. So as to not be fun. So let's ignore that. We do like this. We do like this. We then go like this. Public. Do I want to be a uint? No. So that's a float. Yeah. I like floats. They're overly complicated for no reason. And then we do this. Okay, so there's no need for that. We just do this times the mass. There we go. It equals to the mass. And then if can melt, while it can melt, allowable dot mass. I guess like when's the last time that it moved, right? Or rather, we just collect all the delta times. Well, is it delta time? I guess like, does a player care about delta time? But delta time is always equal to some consistent value, right? Of time. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense for delta time. Like time is time. A second is a second. So we could just collect the amount of delta times until we just stop moving. And we would see like, okay, like how we stop moving for like how many frames? What's like a threshold for like frames for like not moving? 5 frames. If we stop moving for 5 updates, that's a lot. That's a lot of updates. It has to be at least 2. You know what? Only 2. Okay, so property. Public. Private transform. Last frame transform. And then we save the last frame transform. We do all this, and we do last frame transform equal transform. How can I copy this? Game transform. What the fuck is a game transform? Commonly used by the engine to describe entity position. Is this this might be the underlying transform of like the entity itself? Or is a game transform like a whole different transform? Huh. Game transform. What the fuck? Transform.local. The current local transform. What? What do you mean? What? Okay, so you have your transform. I mean, I guess it's always local. Interpolated world. Oh. Wait. Son of a bitch. This is why. Okay, this is probably why none of my stuff works. I don't understand the way that it interpolates from one to the other. Yeah, the rotation of world coordinates, yeah, scale, local position. I don't know the way that it scales. Yeah, and also not transform. Should be position. No. No. Position. That's a vector 3. We'll just do it as a vector 3. I was gonna ask too because, or like, I was just thinking about it too of like, does it make any sense to be a transform because that's a lot more complex stuff on it. Last frame position. I really need to learn the hotkey of the thing. So we with the last frame position and last frame position equals. I mean, I guess it's like equals. When is equal to another object of the same type. If we're nearly equal to the path vector, probably fine to have this because I'm pretty sure because it's it's a float. You don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with equality between floats. I think 4 degrees of accuracy is enough on a float. Like if you're within that, you're way past error margin or like physics, like smoothing issues. It's fine. Is equal to transform dot position. Then we do this. While it's not moving. Yeah, so while it's moving, no melt. While it's not moving, slowly melt. And then this is a matter of like how long until since it's moved. And it's like, private float time delta since last. It's like delta time, but not delta time as we know it. It's like the delta time specifically from last movement. So delta time last movement. Yeah, okay. Float.nen. Yeah, just like that. And then we get the what's the delta time again? It's a way to get the delta time. I keep forgetting. Delta time. Sure. Which one do you use? There we go. What does it say about performance? Why is it used a fixed value for things like player movement? There's the amount of chases the client is doing every frame. Your client is to perform it. The move delta is going to be so small that they create problems. This actually should be a part of the fixed update too, actually. I'm thinking about this. Because realistically, it's not just a movement thing, but also like the way that it's going to disappear. We don't need that much accuracy. Like, we don't really care about it dying in the state in space. The scale, maybe. I think the scale maybe needs to fit pretty well. Actually, no, even then. On fixed update. Yeah, good. And then delta. How do you get to the delta time? Really wish I could know which one you use for delta time. You use. I have the character controller. I can see which one they use. No. Delta. Oh dear God. Delta time. Delta time dot delta. So real time dot delta is not the same as time dot delta. Time dot delta is the engine one, right? Because real time is a real thing. Okay, cool. So all right, so we do plus equal time dot delta until they start moving again, and if they start moving, okay, else. If they start moving, then we do stuff like delta time last movement equals 0f. Well, just 0, I guess. Last frame position equal null. Well, don't do that. There's no need. Okay, so we just do that, and then if can melt. Ooh, shit. What the fuck did it do? Yeah, okay, we'll just do it like this. Yay, and then minus equals. Yeah, I guess you could just take the delta time last movement. No, but then the mass is like way smaller than the thing, right? It's like times 0.01 f. Just like a small fraction of the entire thing. Like basically 1% of your delta time is like the rate at which you slowly disappear. And then as you get towards the death threshold, you will just disappear. So like if well like yeah, because destroy happens on the next frame, we might as well. So if allowable dot mass, well I guess we might as well do it here too. Allowable. Well, there's no need to. There's no need to. It has to disappear no matter what you do. But what happens if you are small and then you start moving? Should you disappear, or would that be weird? Fuck it. That should be an impossible case just by the logic alone. But then that's a logic constraint and not a code constraint. It's not like a type constraint or anything, which is like annoying. It's like a constraint that you can only verify through the behavior of it, through observing it, and not through anything else that you can actually enforce on like a system level of sorts, which is very difficult to wrap your head around. IMO. That's whatever. If plowable.mass is less than or equal, is there a way to almost equals? Is it? Is there like a less than or equals to that's similar to the almost equals where it like kind of carries? I guess less than death threshold or plowable.mass almost equals the death threshold. Do I even care about the fact that it's like really close? I don't know. Like, does it matter that it gets closer and closer? Probably not. Either way, we kill it. Destroy. All right, cool. So basically, while it's moving, it won't die. When it stops moving, it will start to die very, very slowly, and then it gets faster and faster and faster. It gives you time to come back to your snowball over time at a rate of like the time that's passed and 1% of that time that's passed. So scaling upwards, but at like a tenth of time. Or sorry, at like a one-th of time. Such if you leave it for a long time, it'll eventually die. Then you don't need almost die. It just becomes a matter of just leaving it there. So when it stops moving, it stops. About to die doesn't even have to exist anymore. In which case, I just delete it. Just delete it. Just fuck it. Just delete it at some point. Well, would it be funny to have like a death note thing that you can just throw on someone? That would be kind of cool. I'll save that for later. I still don't know if I want players to die and respawn because I don't know how annoying that would be for players to deal with. I think like this is fine. And actually, it should just work. I'm that confident. Okay, so now just throw it. No, but if you throw it right now, it doesn't have a way to handle it like a projectile. Okay, we'll fix that. So drop it. You see it's slowly getting smaller? It's very jittery because it's on a fixed step. I think by default the game is on like 20 steps. I was reading about this. I think the default steps that they set for you is like 20 steps per second. Which actually isn't that bad. Like that's pretty good in terms of like speed. But it is taking a very long time to die. And also like the scale is weird. The scale looks so fucking weird. You know what it is? It's technically kind of moving. It's like kind of moving as it gets smaller and smaller. Huh. Right, because then the position does change. Wait a minute. We need to actually increase this by delta being like 1. I kind of want to say within like, well, 0.5 even. Well, say 0.01 F. I think it needs to be even. It needs to be even more accurate. Like it actually does need to be within like 1. Yeah, 1. No, like a 3. It's the way that it moves. So we have that. If I just comment all this out, and I see the scale that it sets, because I forgot to do it by the thing. Right. Right. Times 0.1 F. So scale is equal to the mass times 0.1. There we go. It flickers very quickly. We'll fix that later, but now we have it. Drop it on the floor. It's going to disappear and it dies. See that? That's much nicer. Do you see how it like see that? Just a small change like that makes it feel a lot nicer. And I kind of figured that would have to be the case. If it's a really small snowball and you roll it though, is that annoying? Kinda. Maybe like half the mass. I guess I see why that was a factor. maybe you can get like, because you know how like there's different types of snow IRL. Because fresh snowfall, like you look at it, and you're like, oh, I can't make a snowball, and then you look at the snow that like comes from your like roads where the car tires are like splashed it, and it's all like darkened and like nasty. It has like weird like gunk in it. Smells like crude oil, and you're like, damn, I really want to eat it, but also I can make a mean snowball off of this. Like that could be the solution. See that? Feels nice. It kind of jitters, but like I like the effect it has, even though it's unintentional. So now if you kind of move it around, like I can't because I have no collision, which is what you want, but it starts off like slow and then it gets faster. Okay, so that'll just scale over time. Good. It also feels nice with the bouncing. But see how if it moves, it stops like starting to like die, like it stops dying. Wait a minute. It still goes. Why? You know what? Because this threshold is way too high. Way too high. 0.5. Well, 0.01 F. How about that? Why do I keep coming back to the scene? Why does it keep taking me back there? I don't want to be there. Stop that, stop. It's because of the game button. Damn. There's a problem. There is a problem that can maybe only be resolved by a different surface texture. That so one, it shouldn't be moving on its own. It should have a rigid body, yes, but I should be controlling the movement by myself. The rigid body is really just for collision. Two, as it shrinks, it moves ever so slightly, causing the values to not be able to capture well. It's a good value here to really make this work. See that? Now it gets all weird. In a weird way, I want to scale it and then move it towards something. You know what? Maybe Snowball should have no rigid body and we just control everything directly. Same with the throw. Maybe there should be no physics except on the player itself. Because gravity was a mistake. And also, I don't know how I want the snowballs to work. Well, but then I have to calculate the ability for it to roll and stuff, which is like, why don't I just modify the physics body of the snowball? I need to modify the physics body of the snowball. Kind of works, doesn't really work. I'll figure it out. We'll do like a 0.5. Or just get this value. If I get this value right, then I can skip all of that work. We're getting very close. As it moves, it doesn't shrink. Okay. Point 8. Why program when you can use math? Genius. As it moves. Nice. Maybe even just point 1. Just 1. It is a little jittery, and it's gonna be funny, but at the same time, it adds kind of a quirky look for now, so I'll just keep it. Yeah, I'm kind of quirky. Just toss these things. Just fucking toss them everywhere. See, that one kind of rolled because it was too slow at moving. So it kind of rolled. It's like we want the factor to be based on your current scale. Yeah, that's it. This needs to be a factor of your current scale. Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Easy. These should all be the same. So it doesn't really matter which. Okay, it's still kind of fucking weird. still gets kind of wonky, but do like 1.2. Gets kind of wonky. Okay, I'll have to think about this one. But this means that as you move, for instance, there should be a delay too. You know, there should be a delay when it starts moving. It's mainly because of the number of frames that's happened. Okay, so to do base this on like 20 frames ago, it just it's a little too sensitive at the moment. We don't do it based on scale, but the larger you are, the more movement you have. So you do need to actually, you still need to normalize it by the scale of the thing. While it's still above 0. So we need to do a clamp. So we do a clamp. Math.clamp. We do, what's the clamp again? Why does it not? Okay, wait, clamp. The what? The value to be clamped, a lower bound of the result, upper bound of the result. Can I do like a min or a max? Is there a max? Or a minimum? Returns the smaller of the two. What? Yeah? Max. Returns the larger of the two, okay? That's a weird fucking name. I feel like that's a weird fucking name, no? Like, what? 1. So it returns the larger of the two. So while the scale is above 1, it returns that. And then when the scale is below 1, it returns the 1. Why don't I just do it like this? There we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. So if you're a larger snowball, then you should require proportionally the same amount of movement if you're a larger snowball to get you to start to like prevent you from melting. We then do a delay over a number of seconds before we start. Maybe 2 frames is fine, and we just do the delay based on time after that. So X amount of delta time passed, then we start the process. Yeah, that's good. I do like the way it melts, though. Good. And then as you're smaller, I mean, let's see what speed you have to move at before it gets really stupid. So that speed. Can you go even slower? I need to get like the perfect slow movement to see how it works. You see that? The way it fucking floats? It's kind of weird the way it floats. I actually don't know why it floats like that. Look at that. Look, look, look. It's not melting at the moment. But that one is like constantly going up and down. I'm pretty sure because I set the surface to something weird. We need to make the system to get these things off the map if they fall too far. So if it's not marked as an important thing, then it just falls off the map and it's just gone. Is there a way to sweep every single entity? Is that stupid? To sweep every entity? Because it's like I want the rule to be if anything passes this threshold. You know what? Why don't just make a giant? Why don't just make a giant like? Because you could make almost like a gate, a trigger. You can make a trigger. Why don't you make a massive trigger at 0, and then it's like if anything hits this or is below this. No, but then I guess it depends on collision speed. Because if you get teleported under, then you wouldn't ever touch it, and you would never come back. But sweeping everything all the time is also very expensive. Okay, we'll just do a giant trigger volume across the entirety under of the map, going from like I don't know, like 10,000 by 10,000 by 10,000 by and then just making like a giant space under. Anything that touches it, if it's not important, gets killed. Okay, we'll do it like that. I think for the most part, we actually got most of the stuff that we needed, except for attaching things now. That's gonna be hard. Well, attaching is kind of interesting. When you attach something, can you disable physics? You can actually stop motion entirely on a rigid body. So when we attach something, I guess, yeah, all you'd really need to do is stop melting it, allow the player to move it with an outline of where they want to move it, at least for the first snowball. See if it can be attached to that surface. So first snowball can be attached only to the floor. Subsequent snowballs can be attached to other snowballs. And then just stop the motion, stop them from melting, and stop applying gravity. Like basically just stop everything. And then it's good to go. And then you just lock everything too. So you lock all the X, Y, Z as well as the pitch, yaw, roll. Yeah. So there's actually no need to do much of that. The hardest part of that whole system is the attachment system. So really it's the attachment system there that's the problem. Because that's going to be important for like attaching like fun things too, like items and stuff to like cool things. Okay, so we do of that. So attachment system is the key piece. Because I'm actually like dead tired. So I think actually we're good to go. I think for the most part we're actually good to go for tomorrow. So tomorrow, 10 a.m., we just go right into it, right? Because I have to wake up at 10 anyways, because my sleep schedule is such annoying me. You're so right, chat. Such annoying me. And we'll go right into just programming this for the rest of the day. And 24th, and then Sunday, I guess if you're into art or music, you can show up, and then you'll see me try my best to make it. We'll just figure out what to make for the music from the demos that I have. I was thinking about doing it based off of like some style, right? Like Wii music or something. But then I was thinking of like the legal landmine that opens me up to, and I don't want to step on a landmine now that I'm finally back on streaming and done with like work and like flooding. It'd be a shame if you save Private Ryan only for him to be unsaved, right? So let's not do that. And I'm also very bad at 3D modeling, so Sunday is basically going to be my personal hell. That's also the day, and then tomorrow we do the snow stuff as well as the world, the level. We do a lot of the level design, the world and stuff like that. Like a lot of the assets to make it like look good and feel good, and actually make it like a real game that isn't just like a weird test bed of stuff of mechanics. And then I think we should implement networking by tomorrow too. If we wait too long, we're doomed because we need to test that stuff immediately. In my head, it seems like it should be okay. I just need to get the ownership model correctly. Oh, sorry, correct. especially for rolling, it's gonna have to be RPCs on the host to handle rolling. But I also want like a client side prediction, and I need to do research into if there's even client side prediction. Presumably there is, because the Source engine just always kind of has had that ability because it's the way it's been used and the games that's been used for. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I just give ownership to whichever client and they roll their snowball. And then I just hope that the game can't be cheated. But also, it doesn't matter if you cheat. Like, if you play this game with your friends and you cheat and making like a larger snowball, like, you know, something's wrong with you. And then we gotta do final polish on game feel, mouth feel, making some more fun items, just throwing in some random mechanics, I guess. Really, I mean, that final day of Monday is going to be initial upload of the base game that works for the game jam, throwing in as many fun mechanics as we can think of, like Jekyll and Monroe, and then I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, we're good. We're done for today. I'm dead tired. Most of you are dead tired too. I'm pretty sure most of you like KO'd actually, especially because most of you would usually not be able to watch this late. But tomorrow will be a day when everyone can actually watch me late, so it's interesting. I actually kind of want to see though if I can raid anybody. But that's all for Sandbox. Again, this is not the once we're done the game jam, it's not like we're done with Sandbox, right? Like I fundamentally actually believe in their platform because like built-in multiplayer goodness is very, very interesting as a model when you combine it with a game platform that then allows you to automatically match up with other players. I think that's kind of a genius move, right? Allowing parties of people to join existing sessions and effectively have their own, I guess, like group that joins other groups. Reminds me kind of ye olden days when you would go into like a Counter-Strike server browser and you just find a server and you and your buddies would hop on the same server every day after school just to play in this one server, right? It makes sense, IMO. And that's just one portion of it, right? If the leaderboard stuff works, I can imagine that's for our next game idea would be very interesting. And if they add even more features like player customization, I can see this getting pretty good long term in terms of like what you can expect from Sandbox as a platform too. On top of that, you kind of get this like interesting bleed over from other players of Sandbox. Like your own game, you gotta do marketing, gotta do all this, all that. If they can somehow nail their own store interface, which to be fair, this is sort of the thing that's going to be hard about the platform is that can their store interface and their recommendation system be on par with Steam, or is it just worth it to export every single time from Sandbox, lose the built-in networking stuff to some degree, but then you get the ability to just be on Steam with its better system, right? Like, can you, if they can beat that on a pick up and play perspective, then I think they have something going on. I think it's just a matter of like, can it actually work as a whole? And then beyond that, I guess allowing us to store like any data we want on network, which I think you can. Last time I was checking it out, like all the documentation, I'm pretty sure that there was. I just didn't really look into it clearly, but yeah, it's interesting. I actually think that the engine is getting somewhere interesting. I just need to figure out what to do with the platform, I guess. Because the hard part is really the platform, right? But again, I envision it being very good for those either short session games or games that, I guess if you pulled in data and had drop in and like drop out, could lead to much more dynamic gameplay situations. In a way, you kind of need to build for that from your design perspective, right? But you could do something like V Rising in this very, very simply. Like, incredibly simply. And it would feel like a perfect match for the platform because of the way that people can drop in and drop out. It'd almost be the best way to do it. You just need some way to have almost like a global, like, this is your player state for this game across any game server of this game type of storage for stuff like that to work long term over like a longer period of play session. But once I either find it already existing and therefore I date myself, or they implement it and therefore I'm a genius, once either of those two happen, I think it's going to be on a good track. But that's it for Sandbox. I hate programming sometimes, but I love programming too. And hey, we have actually quite a bit of functionality done. We just need to now do the rolling, which again is very simple. It's why I wasn't ever like too worried about the game getting done. It's realistically the game is super simple. Um, it's always just the hard part of like knowing what the engine does and knowing what we want from it, right? Making games sometimes is easy. The hard part is constraining yourself to a little box, you know? Let's break the box next time.